It is time for the NUEL Winter Split Finals for League of Legends. My name is Stanley Greyheart Barker. I am joined, of course, by Nelson AC Silver.
How are we doing tonight?
Doing very well. Yep,
Great.
We're excited for these games. We've got the North Finals coming up. South didn't quite make the cut, so we're going to be seeing Grey Warwick taking on De Montfort University Team 1.
Absolutely. So, DMU T1 ran the gauntlet through the losers bracket. They actually, curiously enough, got taken down to the losers bracket by Grey Warwick themselves on the semifinals of the winners, but they managed to pull through anyway, and here they are yet again to get their payback on Grey Warwick in the grand finals of the North, on the North group.
Yeah, Grey Warwick have been doing pretty great. They've only dropped one game this entire split, but that game during the Swiss bracket was against DMUT1, so it's not like it's impossible out of this world to even think about the underdogs taking this one today. They're certainly going to be putting up a big old fight.
No, absolutely not. So what we can take out of this is that gods bleed, but historically, between these two teams throughout the winter split, that's not been the case. That's not been the case. Like, that one defeat that they got on week number 2 was just a little scratch in their little egos. Because, I mean, we're talking about at least 5 games between DMU and Grey Warwick, in which Grey Warwick have always, or almost always, won bar that one game on week 2.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a scratch for them, but perhaps not even a scratch they noticed, because when I was talking to the captain of Grey Warwick earlier, I said, "Oh, did you lose any games during the Swiss bracket?" It was like, "No, don't think so." So he didn't even remember that was the case. It took the opposition team to tell me that, but they certainly are going to be looking to go out and make things theirs here in the Winter Split Finals, of course, playing for that lion's share of the RP coming from the NUEL. All of these teams have already qualified for varsity going into next split, which is really the split that everyone cares about because it's got the biggest prizes on the line. But even so, you want to be here, you want to be winning the big RP, you want to get that nice triumphant rise skin and set yourself up well for Christmas.
No, absolutely. And to make matters worse, Grey Warwick actually got in Soph as a sub-in jungler because their original jungler, well, solo queue-wise, he was Diamond 2. Soph is a next UKLC jungler positioned in Grandmaster. And according to the intel that you gave me, he is but a freshman in the Grey Warwick University.
Yeah, he's coming in as a sub, a bit of a rookie to this team, but certainly not a rookie to the UK scene in general. He'll be looking to really leave his mark very much so because he'll have the opportunity perhaps as he goes through his next couple of years of his course to try and actually take away this role from T-Cake with Jam, who I believe is off on a nice holiday, so maybe not going to see his new able to come into the Rift today. Maybe Soft will play it in his honour.
Yeah, no. So moving into this game, though, we need to address something that we have that has been happening throughout this last few months, or not the last few months, the last few weeks, which is the preseason patch. We're no longer in the regular season patch. We had a lot of changes, and all these changes have been very unforgiving, especially in the jungle. There's been a lot of priority shifted towards that jungle, and a lot of pressure also been applied at the top lane, at the top side of the map. What I'm curious to see in the clash between these two teams is the top side and the bot side of the map, because jungle-wise, I do feel like Grey Warwick will have the upper hand throughout most of the series.
I mean, that's completely fair to say. I mean, you've mentioned yourself, Soph is a player who's played in the UKLC, as has Koki, another of the players who's going to be playing ADC for Grey Warwick in this team. So there's definitely that advantage, that pedigree already there. However, you also have to factor in a little bit of the synergy that maybe will be missing slightly from the lineup, having gone away from T-Cake due to his holiday.
You could say that, but at the same time, most of the communication, or at least most of the communication, should be coming from the jungle. When we're talking about synergies, we're talking about synergies that develop through time. But when we're talking about such a veteranized player like Soph is, you'd expect him to have the adaptability to really be able to play with most of the players that stand in front of him, especially at such a young age. So his adaptability is still very much on point. On the other side, I would have to argue that his solo queue history tells me that he's a bit of an autofill jungler in the lineup of DMU. So it breaks the question. Sure, they might have the consistency of a team, but do they have the experience in the jungle?
It's very fair. I think he's a jungle and support main. I mean, he shows that he's very proficient in support. He's been playing that in the Proving Grounds recently here in the UK, trying to show off what he can do for those top teams who are looking to pick up players coming into the next split of the UKLC. But no, I think you're right to say that he's definitely going to be maybe that little step down in terms of Soft, but he's there with the opportunity to maybe prove us wrong as we enter into pick and bans for the first game in this best of 3 final.
Absolutely. So we're going to have Grey Warwick on the blue side in this first game with DMU on the red side. A lot of priorities can be put in the jungle here as far as picks go. I would say in terms of bans, the priorities should be at least focused in Conqueror mages. I'm thinking about Cassiopeia and I'm thinking about Ryze. One of the things that both of these teams share is the champion pool in the top lane, especially Ryze. Ryze, one of the primary Conqueror abusing mages on that top lane, and he can flex into the mid lane, so he could be a problematic champion to take out on the red side. Because obviously, if you were Grey Warwick, you would want to have hands on this champion.
Very valid points there, I see. However, the teams have decided to put their early attention into the junglers. They were sort of our feature during the pre-game, and they have already seen Jarvan and Lee Sin taken away from Soft and Idol respectively. Xayah, the next ban coming through, wouldn't be entirely shocked to see a Kai'Sa ban in response.
Maybe, but again, it depends on where you want the priority, because you have the trinity of the bot lane, which is Xayah Rakan, you have Kai'Sa Nautilus, and you have Caitlyn Morgana. So far, part of that trinity has been taken out. Yes, you have those... Well, you have your random rogue pick of Evolution and Ascena, who has also been taken into the scene recently. Caitlyn's been taken out, so that's Caitlyn Morgana also out of the picture.
Surely you've got to ban Kai'Sa now.
You would have to ban Kai'Sa, or you would let it pass, maybe in the hopes that that Grey Warwick would have something else in store for their first pick.
But here's the problem, AC. Erisu, known as a Katarina one-trick, used to have that cat clan tag and is indeed going to see the Katarina banned away from him, leaving the Kai'Sa up. Now, just to remind people that here at the NUEL, not every game does every player have every champion, and I'm just receiving a message through saying that Teemo is going to be Senna, so it's not going to be the Kai'Sa into lock-in. Instead, the Senna, of course, there is the flexibility, especially between ADC and support in that champion.
Absolutely. The magical thing about Senna is that you can also bring her into the mid lane, you can bring her into the top lane if you have a composition that can work around her really, really well as well. So Senna brings in a lot of flexibility. Like you said, she can pair up really well with poke AD carries. She can be a poke AD carry, especially if you pair Senna with the likes of Tahm Kench in the support role. The answer right now, or the answer to Senna, is super, super hard engage. And apart from Nautilus, Leona is a very hard engager.
Leona is going to be the first one picked up. It looks like we'll see some attention potentially towards the jungle. Gragas, of course, still a really high priority. Was one of the top junglers, if not the S-tier jungler going into the World's Patch, and still very strong here in preseason. That one is going to be locked in for Idol, and to the best of my knowledge, neither of those are proxy picks.
No. Gragas is absolutely a very viable pick. You usually see Gragas being locked in when Yasuo was open. Even if you bring Yasuo and Gragas into the bot lane, they're always a very fair pair. Now, when you have the opportunity to have other top tier picks like the Olaf, like the Elise on the board, I don't think Gragas might be an option here, but I could be wrong, and I really hope I am wrong, because Olaf will do a number on the Gragas in the jungle if they ever meet up.
Here's the joy of picking this Senna up early. It still means the Kai'Sa is on the table, and perhaps we could have seen that Kai'Sa Leona locked in together on the side of DMU, but instead it's going to be Kai'Sa Senna, almost guaranteed to be the bot lane of Grey Warwick.
Right, so now you have the Leona. You already know what the enemy bot lane is going to be. It's going to be Senna and Kai'Sa. The reply here, I would have to argue, was going to be the Draven.
It may still be. This could be a proxy pick.
It could be, but then again...
Message through, Anivia is a Heimerdinger.
Anivia is a Heimerdinger. A Heimerdinger with a Leona bot lane, kind of anti-synergistic, because Heimerdinger, basically what he wants to do in the bot lane is deny the enemy team from playing at all. Just shove. No hard engages, deny hard engages. Leona is the polar opposite. She wants to go in. She wants to provoke fights. Despite the fact that there is a follow-up, it's not as strong as if you had a proper AD carry to really follow up with the damage and proc her Leona's passive.
There's a lot to be said about this bot lane. I'm sure we're going to come more to it as we get into the game, AC, but right now we are looking at top laners and mid laners needed to be picked up for both of these teams, the Aatrox and the Pantheon taken off the table. One of the things that you always have to factor in when you talk about Grey Warwick is the fact that almost every one of their players can play in every role, and they have so much flexibility. We've seen Send this season alone play at support, ADC, and mid lane.
That's true. And I did mention that both of these teams share a lot of champion pools in the top and mid lane, because, well, top and mid are virtually interchangeable, really.
And the Ryze and Cassiopeia have both got through again.
Oh my goodness, you're absolutely right. So Rising Cassiopeia, the Conqueror Mages are available. Dardong could absolutely pick him up for the top lane if he passes this first rotation or the first pick on the second rotation, which Rise is going to pass.
That is getting through with the Camille locked in,
Oh,
almost
boy.
certain to be the pickup for Samjay in the top lane. Now we've got to have Grey Warwick showing their whole hand, completing the composition. I think that we are going to see some kind of flexibility between these two champions.
I really hope we are. I mean, truth be told, Gragas, I wanted to say Gragas is still a flex pick, but it's hard to assume that Gragas is a flex pick considering that you already have a Leona locked in. Unless there's going to be a magical Leona mid lane. There it is. Okay, so the R pick is absolutely going into mid lane. Arisu, an assassin, or solid. Actually,
I would very much so expect it to be there. I think we'll probably see the glacial augment.
Curious. Actually, this is very curious. Because what was Anivia's pick again?
Anivia is a Heimerdinger.
Anivia's Heimerdinger. So right now you're lacking one pick, and I assume it's going to be for the mid lane. Solid E athlete. From my research, he is a very big assassin player. And I do feel like this Ahri was mostly taken to deny Solid E athlete from the Ahri pick rather than to take it for Grey Warwick themselves.
So there are a couple of champions that really come to mind. Looking at the lack of AD that we have right now in the DMU lineup, of the Garen and the Akali are possibilities, but I'm really thinking about the Kiara, about the Zed, but in the end it is going to be the Kassadin. That is that last second lock-in for DMU. The drafts are completed. We are going to have to remake the lobby because, of course, these teams that have now proxy picked just get to lock in the order that they are needed as we're able to get ourselves into the game. We've got a whole opportunity to talk about the way these two teams have drafted to give themselves the best opportunity in this first game of the final, AC.
Yes! All right, so Camille in the top lane, Gragas in the jungle, Kassadin in the mid lane. You have a modicum of scaling. You have kind of an acceptable early game. Bot lane can hold themselves really, really well for DMU, but they're going to have some transitional problems coming into the mid game. Camille, she either pops off really well in the early mid game, or else she's going to be a non-factor up to like the 30-minute mark, I would have to argue. Bot lane is going to be very, very big because of how the dragons work on the preseason patch, how the dragons shift and or mold the terrain around the Summoner's Rift, how the Ocean Dragon creates brushes, how the Infernal Dragon breaks walls, and how the Mountain Dragon creates walls. So there's going to be a lot of play around that bot lane, I would assume. Heimerdinger is there to mostly deny or at least prevent Grey Warwick from thinking about approaching the bot lane. Again, I can't feel like the Leona Heimerdinger synergize too well, but hey, I'm open to be surprised.
Well, surprise is something that we may well get. I'm looking forward to see how the Kaiser Senna lane plays out. It's not a combo that I've seen paired up in any of my games recently. I have a two-part question for you, AC. There's something that I've been suggesting for a while. One of the main things I feel about the randomity, the flexibility that can come out of having different dragon souls and having the rift change in different ways. How would you feel about knowing going into Champ Select exactly which soul was going to come around for the third dragon?
I would feel awful knowing that. What I would like to see is know what 3 dragons can show up. I feel like that is a necessity given how much the dragons shift the tone of the map and how different champions work better or worse considering the dragons that you play with. So giving you the Dragon Soul might be a little bit too overwhelming. It might cut out champions completely. So I would say give us the 3 dragons that are going to show up, and then let players and teams work around what they want their composition to try to do with that information. So
at the very least, you're cutting out one potential thing.
Exactly.
It gives you a little bit of foresight, but not the entire picture.
Obviously. I mean, I'm fine with a little bit of RNG, but not to the point. I mean, I'm fine with a little bit of RNG, and I think that knowing the soul that you're going to get might be a little bit too condemning because you have so little champions that work extremely well that you had to prioritize those champions. I mean, when would you know? You know what I mean? When would you know when the soul, what soul you would have? After the champion select, before the champion select, at the second rotation, on the first rotation before the champion select?
It would have to be before even the bans came through, I suppose. But it was just an idea I had. I'm personally a big hater of all things RNG, and I accept that there can be a small amount of it, but the Dragon Soul just seems to be able to overpower certain champions a bit too much, and it feels harsh when suddenly a team with, let's say, a Malphite gets the Dragon Soul and 3 Mountain Dragons, and he's just not killable anymore. But anyway, that is something that we don't have to deal with. It's just a bit of supposition for the potential future. Right now, what we do have to deal with is this game number 1 between Grey Warwick and DMU T1. We've seen the drafts. What are your feelings going into game 1? Who are you banking?
Well, my feelings on game... through experience, I would have to argue that Grey Warwick do have the upper hand because they have the better composition. They have a huge, massive frontline tank in the form of a Scion, that if he has access to those Mountain Dragon Souls that we were talking about, he becomes virtually unkillable because he's potentially infinitely scaling in HP, so all he has to do is build a couple of HP items, then just get a Gargoyle Stone Plate, and he's unkillable for the rest of the game because of the Mountain Dragon. Also, you have an Olaf, who is virtually unopposed. He just needs Scion to go in front of him, clear the way of Heimerdinger's towers, and Olaf can just press R and run anyone down. That's virtually what's going to happen, I would have to say. DMU's side, however, they have some pretty neat combos. They have some interesting ideas in their draft, but I fear that their execution might be a little bit too complicated when you're comparing it to Grey Warwick's side.
Well, you've given your 2 cents, and so is Twitch chat, and so far it seems to be quite heavily in favour of DMU, certainly from a support side, even if not from a prediction side as it stands. Game 1 will certainly tell us a lot about how this series will go down. Of course, we do have another final going on simultaneously, which we're not able to broadcast both, sadly, but that is the South Side final with Brunel, I believe it is, going up against...
I'll tell you in a second.
A team that's not Brunel, but also got to the final.
Bristol Whipped.
Bristol Whipped, of course. And I knew it was either them or the Cabbage Family, but I remembered Cabbage Family losing, so...
yes, Cabbage Family got bodied by Bristol Whipped on the losers bracket comp.
Fantastic. Well, thanks to our wonderful production, we have got an opportunity early on to take a little look at some of the keystones that we are going to be seeing in this game. And the first one that really sort of sticks out to me is going to be, as I try and remember exactly the name of it, it's going to be that Glacial Augment for the RE. So we're going to see that Twin Shadows pick up early on, along with the Super Soaker to get all those slows down. Definitely going to be a bit of a pain for people like the cast.
For a second, I thought you were going to tell me that it was going to be the new keystone. I was like, who is insane enough to use that keystone? The Omnistone. Like,
oh dear, no.
How is that even a thing? Who even uses that? I mean, it's Snoop Bait. Hands down, they destroyed the best keystone, or arguably one of the best keystones in the game, and then turned it into the polar opposite of what it was. Yeah. Hey, do you like RNG? Here, have runes.
It's a weird one, isn't it? I feel like they're gonna have to change it at some point to give it some actual benefit to having the randomity. It's a bit odd.
It's a semi-random field of runes, so the only randomness, I think, it comes down to the first rotation of runes, and then it just becomes cyclical. But still, imagine having Dark Harvest once every like 2 minutes.
And as I come now into Champ Select myself, I'm able to see that my eyes have betrayed me. It was not the Glacial Augment RE. It is going to be the Electrocute RE for Erisu. So going more onto the sort of full-on burst damage mage, the assassin style, that actually Erisu is much more known for.
Yeah.
I'm not into game yet, Patrick, just so you know. Okay, thank you.
So the Electrocute on Erisu means that he is going to go for the Assassin Ari type thing. When you have an Olaf in the composition, you obviously want to end the game as fast as you can, or else you risk Olaf becoming a non-factor in the later stages. Obviously, he's going to be able to run down people nonetheless, but when you get to a late enough point, he becomes more of a nuisance rather than a threat, to the point that he gets one-shot by the likes of the Kassadin, by the likes of, heck, Heimerdinger. Even the Camille becomes a threat to Olaf if the game prolongs itself for long enough.
It's going to be quite a tough old match, and we really touched on it a lot in the pre-champ select stage between Sof and Idol. One of the main things I'm looking at here in terms of two champions, both of whom can run Predator, but it's only the Gragas who's actually opting into here for the super speedy ganks, instead seeing the Conqueror being picked up on Brolaf for Sof.
I mean, that's pretty standard as far as Olaf goes. I mean, Predator used to be a fun gimmick, but once people realize that, well, you don't actually need that extra movement speed because you can just have approach velocity on the secondary tree if you have inspiration with magical footwear. The game just plays itself. Like, you just need to hit one axe, you gain movement speed from landing at axe at the same time that you're slowing your opponent. You pick up the axe, you rinse and repeat until the enemy's dead.
It's
And by the time you get to the target, Conqueror's already stacked, and you're already pretty much dealing 2 damage to them.
I'm just having a little laugh away here at just how long this loading screen is taking for me. I think you told me earlier that you didn't get the chance to play Clash last night and all of the joyous issues that we had here on EUS, but it seems that my computer is still plagued by some of them as I try to load up. But I think I'm almost done.
You should probably restart then, because I'm already.
We are good, and I'm just about to pause at 10 seconds, and then we will be able to bring all the action that is coming.
Oh lordy!
There we go. You got the thumbs up from me, Patrick. We are on to the Rift, and for those of you who weren't unfortunately able to see the wonderful caster cams just then, you missed the most awkward pair of thumbs up you could have possibly had in silence as we waited for the wonderful production that we have here at the NUEL to get us started, get us onto the Rift. A big shout out to everybody who has played in the NUEL this split. I think over 300 teams in the end between the South and the North division, and also fantastic production teams, great casters all round, and then us two as well, AC.
Oh, thank you. You're pretty good as well, man. Now, 45 seconds in, we already have Soft starting off with the sweeping lens. This is great. Free gold, free vision score, and you're not only allowing yourself to deny vision to the enemy team, you're also making sure that you know where the enemy started, you know what wards they place, and you're able to basically get free ganks, or at least set up free ganks without actually getting spotted out.
It's a slow, steady start coming out from both teams. However, there is clear pressure in the river from Grey Warwick. They are the favourites coming into this game. They went unbeaten through the playoff stage, only lost 1 game through the Swiss bracket, and already we can see them taking a little step forward, being able to completely control the river. No vision being gained here from DMU. As Senna even goes in for a sneaky little ward, but does find a shot or two from Heimer's turrets.
I'm actually curious to see how Senna and Kai'Sa synergize, because Kai'Sa likes to have hard engages on her side just so that she can have some sort of follow-up and backline peel when she goes for the killer instinct. Senna doesn't exactly provide that. What Senna provides is quite a lot of poke, really.
Quite a lot of poke indeed. We did see... I'm just trying to put my finger on where Olaf started. It looks like it's going to be the red buff steal coming in for the jungler of the Grey Warwick team, who isn't playing Grey Warwick, which frankly just seems like cheating. So Soft is going to steal away that red buff, is going to take away some of the Raptor camp as well before going to his own blue buff. Didal almost definitely is going to get 3 buffed here. Senna, of course, one of the things that we need to touch on is the fact that she gains all this extra AD, almost like the Veigar style of stacking.
That's actually very interesting pathing decisions from Soph here. I mean, I do believe that he was spotted by vision placed by DMU, but DMU is doing nothing about it. I mean, sure, Gragas isn't exactly the early game fighter you would like him to be, but to allow Olaf to free roam in your jungle like this is just asking for trouble. Because he's going to be able to win every single level 3 and beyond skirmish here.
Can I just send some love to those people in Twitch chat who are calling Soft a tryhard for counter jungling in finals? You've got to try hard, especially when you've got yourselves a 2 versus 2 in the mid lane. Are managing to land the charm? Solid athlete trying to get away on this cast in. Soft taking a lot of damage. First blood is going to come through. Vordido, the response kill is there as the junglers do manage to kill off not each other, but manage Solid athlete eventually dying to Soft's red buff, I believe, right at the end of that fight.
I already like Soft just because of how he played it. Oh boy.
Well, Kai'Sa was left completely isolated. The flash is going to come down. The ignite burning. That's going to be a shield coming through from Send. Koki able to survive. However, the flash, the heal, both burned by Send and the flash from Koki. Not a good trade coming out of the Grey Warwick bot lane.
No, not at all. I mean, Koki had to use his flash, and he forced Send's double summoners out as well. I mean, This is a lot of aggression coming out of something that you didn't. Oh, Jesus, this is aggression all over the map now.
Soft going for the flash forward, not happy that he gave away first blood to Didol. Will try and get the kill, and Charm forces the flash out of Didol. Really nicely played from the Gragas to keep himself alive for now, but Olaf still chasing him into the jungle.
All right, I'm going to pick up on the fact that Didol is being really, really aggressive with the Gragas against the Olaf. This is not something you want to do when you're up against such a very early game oriented jungler. Olaf will destroy you. If you try to invade him, if you try to get away, he will destroy you. And we just saw twice in a row, back to back, what happens when you try to go for these cheeky invades and cheeky steals as a Gragas against the Olaf.
Really crucial back there for the Gragas, picking up the boots, now able to make the most of that Predator Keystone, maybe looking in for some more ganks. Already the junglers involved in a huge amount of the plays. We see the Zenith Blade going straight down onto the Senna, who is completely obliterated before being able to try and get out. Of course, no flash or heal due to the previous play, and that is going to be the death of Send.
Exactly. No flash, no heal. You're overextended. You're not exactly a tank support. You're not a Nautilus. You don't have Aftershock. You can't sustain this type of engage. I mean, you need to know, you need to respect the fact that you're playing against a Leona and that your AD carry is unable to help you. You have a Kai'Sa who does not have heal. Kai'Sa has teleport. She needs that extra to get back to lane fast because you're playing against Heimerdinger, and you need to be respectful of the fact that you don't have summoners.
A 300 gold lead has been gained for the underdogs, DMU. Could this be one for the history books where they are able to take out the old foe Grey Warwick and pick themselves up a winter split championship? Meanwhile, the Infernal Dragon has been started up, currently being leashed out by the Heimerdinger turret. Senna stepping forward, managing to land the roof. The Dragon has been stopped out for now.
All right, so we know for a fact that it's not going to be the Infernal map. Point one. Point two, it can still be 3 other very deadly dragons. And one of them being the Mountain Dragon, that if it lands on Darthong's hands, it might be problematic. You're going to have a very big side and very little ways to really deal with him.
I mean, on the plus side, if you're able to keep that soul away from Darthong and actually able to get it on yourself as the DMU team, then perhaps you're going to get all that extra tankiness for the Leona and all, the magic resist and armor boosts for the Camille as well. So it's, it's a bit of a game of two halves, so to speak. We've got to actually see who gets that soul first of all. Well, we've got to see what the soul is first of all, and then see who gets it secondly.
Yeah, well, currently Gragas is on the top side, but we do see Soph approaching the bottom side.
Send going straight in. The Heimerdinger turrets is getting some decent damage down, but the flash has been forced out of the Leona, who's still taking a huge amount of damage in response. Stun is going to land on the soft EUNE. Soxu able to help his team out really strongly. Ultimate is available for both the Kassadin and also for the Ahri. Erisu using that Spirit Dash to get to safety. No follow-up of the Riftwalk.
Yeah, Erisu was caught off without any mana in her or in his pool, so there was no way that he could fight that against a Kassadin with a full mana pool. Both Ignites are still up, though Erisu had to take the short end of the stick on that trade, falling back on that one. Though we do see Soph approaching the mid lane, trying to go on a gank on a post-level 6 Kassadin.
It's going to be the
That's
next
brave.
gank that really feels crucial to me, because if we see that return gank coming down to the bot lane, now both the flashes are down on both of these sets of ADCs and support. Whoever makes that next gank could easily set themselves up for an easy Infernal.
Speaking of easy ganks and easy infernals, Leona has no flash.
No flash whatsoever. Going to get rooted up. Soft charging this one down. One more axe will come from the sky. Not even needing the Ragnarok just as well, because he's not level 6 yet. Soft picks up one free kill, but is immediately about to find Kassadin and the Gragas both chasing down towards him. Heimer waiting on the wings as well, but no way to get over that wall. Able to throw a decent bit of damage over, catching on to Sten. Now we see the teleport being channeled. Sam J is going to be able to join the fight, but not before Kassadin gets completely obliterated. Unstoppable onslaught straight onto the Gragas, and just like that, Didol loses his life, and just like that, Infernal Dragon will go to Grey Warwick.
What a huge bait coming in from Grey Warwick. They baited off the Senna super low. She healed out. She had flash, but she didn't need to use it. All that they need is to get Kassadin on the lockdown, and they did so perfectly. Kassadin completely tunneled out on Send, and all that Olaf had to do was throw axes and pummel Kassadin to the ground. So that was kill number 1. Kill number 2 came from Dard, running all the way up from the top lane and crashing into Didol, giving away a free Infernal Dragon to Grey Warwick.
And on top of that as well, as we see the charm landing here onto the Kassadin, Erisu just putting down an absolute ton of damage. One of the other things is Dardhong using that unstoppable onslaught, coming straight essentially from top lane, having roamed down, knowing what was the priority with this Infernal Dragon, does not burn his teleport, whereas Samjay, not only does he not get himself any kills, but loses his teleport as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Samjay did try to interact with his team, but Dardhong, he's preserving his teleport. He has TP advantage. He can get another gank on the bot lane or the mid lane if he so wishes, any given time or at any given point, any given moment right now. And that help will be much appreciated given the fact that you're playing against a Heimerdinger, and I personally don't like to do it, but
AC,
surely...
one thing. Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, one thing we can stop talking about is the potential for Mountain Soul, because the next dragon on the Rift will be the Mountain.
Yes, absolutely. So, we're down to 2 dragons. We either have the Ocean Dragon or the Cloud Dragon. Either of these dragons are pretty interesting to have. The Ocean Dragon is going to give you a lot more brushes in your jungle, which is going to it's going to make it a little bit more difficult to really keep control of your own segments of the jungle. So if you're behind, you're going to feel like you're behind. The jungle is actually going to feel like a jungle.
It is, it's the Cloud Dragon and its passive and its soul that I really want to talk about though, AC, because if we do end up seeing that, and right now there's a 50-50 chance of that being the case as we get into the late game, all of that ultimate cooldown potential. I mean, it's one of the scariest things in League right now, is the potential to have up to, I think it's 32% extra cooldown on the ultimate. It's kind of crazy.
I'm not sure. I know you get 10% off the first dragon, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think you get 10% off every subsequent dragon on your ultimate. But the thing is,
up to 40% even, that'd be even crazier.
Yeah, but it multiplies. So basically, you can get, like, let's say you get 20% off your cooldown on your ultimate, and then from the result, you can stack up to 40% from your standard items. Now, the biggest thing here is looking at either teams, apart from Grey Warwick, I don't feel like DMU really benefit from having Cloud Dragons in their inventories. I mean, you have Heimerdinger, Camille, Gragas, and then you have a Kassadin. Those aren't really ultimates that you would want to spam. They're not team fight breaking, apart from, say, Leona maybe.
Yeah, having the Solar Flare would be very nice, as we are seeing right now, because straight away I put down, forcing the flash out of send, but the TP is coming in response. This is the nice benefit that Dardhong gained from not having burned his teleport last time round. We are seeing Rift Herald being picked up by Soft in the top lane, but in goes Solid the Athlete, looking for the kill. Send tries to go into the border, but it's still taking a lot of damage. Solid the Athlete being chased down, is going to have to Rift walk himself away, but not before killing Sedna. Dardhong isn't going to die, but isn't going to be able to get a kill either.
No, he's not. So this was a 1-for-0 trade in favor of DMU. It was a very sluggish fight. One that Grey Warwick seemed to be kind of disrespecting DMU on, but still, they're pulling their weight. They're doing things, and they're being proactive. They're not just rolling over and dying as you would expect them to do against Grey Warwick.
Considering that they gave away a 2,500 gold lead after giving away that first dragon and those last 3 kills, they're definitely keeping themselves in the game. But right now, Erisu's just showing what he can do, going for the straight-out outplay. But with the stopwatch, we're going to see Gragas able to survive at the very last second. I was waiting for the center ult to come through, but it wasn't there.
It is not there. I mean, it's there now. The ultimate is available from Send. It's going to be the Herald being popped in the mid lane. Okay. A bit of an awkward position to plant your Herald, considering that you don't have a wave, but you're still going to collect plates, you're still going to collect the tower, and you might even get another headbutt off that Herald. First Blood Tower in the hands of Grey Warwick. They're opening up the map from the mid lane. This is pretty good on them, despite the fact that they lost a member, they lost a number in the bot lane.
Yeah, Erisu there putting himself in a pretty great position, already having taken away 3 and a bit of those turret plates, left it so that Soft's Herald was able to do good work, picking up all of that extra gold nice and early. Definitely a very nice situation for Grey Warwick to find themselves in right now, especially as we could easily get ourselves a second Herald in this game.
Yes, no, absolutely. We will absolutely get a second Herald in this game. Herald will be live in another 7 minutes, which should put it at around the 19-minute mark, give or take. Or, no, 4 minutes, actually. Sorry, I was looking at the Baron Nashor. Now, we're going to have a Herald in another 4 minutes, which will give either team more than enough time to collect it and maybe speed up their early/mid or the transition into the mid game.
Meanwhile, we get to see a lot of what's going on in the top lane, but right now the attention of both teams is short towards this dragon. Ragnarok already popped by the Olaf, but not able to take down Diadol before he dies. Solid the athlete is very, very low, having to rift walk himself away to safety. So far, it's a 1-0 in favour of the DMU team, but Grey Warwick changed that with one plasma from Koki, able to take out Solid. Athlete, I want to tell you, being saved for now, but Erisu continuing the chase. Does not have the ultimate quite available just yet, but one more beam, one more set of orbs going through is going to be able to pick up the kill. Meanwhile, we do see that Samjay is able to continue the push, trying to get some of these plates down, get a little bit of gold back for DMU, but overall, after picking up the early kill, things went from really quite nice to really quite poor, and Erisu looking for another one, forcing the flash out of Didal. He smites the red buff to get a little bit of the health back. Now he is chasing his way back into his own jungle, but he's found a Dardom who flashes forward and manages to miss on one attack, doesn't have the ultimate to go chasing any further. Somehow we see the great escape coming out of Didal for the second time in quick succession. Meanwhile, Soksu is in all sorts of trouble. He puts down his ultimate. He's able to get massive damage down to the Kaiser. Koki having to flash away. Soksu being chased down by Soft. He doesn't manage to get out of there though in time. Here comes Camille.
Fight him!
Down to try and make the fight. Soft now has got Leona looking on the outside, looking for the Zenith Blade. Will they time it right? They go for the Hex Flash. They get the stun. They get the Zenith Blade. But here comes Senna with the shield. Soft in the Hex Deck Ultimatum, trying to make the best of this fight, but he's going to go down to Samjay. Now Send is in all sorts of trouble. Very, very little mana available. Does not have the flash. Samjay is going to have a lot of damage. All the athletes going to have the kill transferred over to them. This is an absolute bloodbath, AC.
Okay, we got to start somewhere, and I'm going to start where it began, and that little fight around the mid lane where Grey Warwick took a little bit too long to take down DMU. Actually, DMU, I have to say, they played it really well. They wasted so much time they wasted so much of Grey Warwick's precious time that they barely managed to get any objectives off the back of that. In fact, if we look at it, it was DMU who took home a dragon off the back of that whole chase, or that, I don't even know what happened at the on the end of that fight. I mean, you had a chase down the mid lane, you had dragons that survived, he went back, he came back. Grey Warwick took no objectives off the back of those initial 2 picks, and eventually DMU managed to take a dragon, safeguarded the tier 2 tower in the mid lane, and lost nothing else.
Erisu going into the straight out outplay, has absolute bags of damage and gets a second kill of the game, now 2-0-2 on this Ari pick.
Okay, well, I mean, these picks are all fine and dandy, but you need to be proactive on those objectives. You can't just stop on your tracks once you get a pick and go back and try to reset. You need to put pressure on the objectives. Take the towers, take a dragon, take the herald, or set up for said heralds.
Each of the teams has one champion with 3 kills or more. For Grey Warwick, it is their jungler, Soft, the substitute, coming in place of T-Cake as he comes into this final. And now we see the flash away from Send, able to get himself away from the explosive cast. But here comes Samjay on the Camille, already putting down so much damage to Koki and able to take out the Kaiser with very, very little trouble. Soft coming in for the counter gank is going to force the flash out of Samjay as we do see the barrel put down to achieve the slow. Soft unable to get a return kill, 1-for-1 across the map.
Well, I mean, we talked about this in the champion select. Camille was a very volatile champion where she either really, really did well in the early game and managed to get a Trinity Force really early, which is the case, or she became a redundant champion. In this case, Sam J is a menace. He is 3-0 on the board, has a Trinity Force and the team at 17 minutes in, and he hasn't reset yet. He currently sits with a modest 600 gold in his pocket, but he can go back and get himself a nice pair of boots. He deserves those.
He certainly does.
But he's absolutely set up in this, or he's set up to walk into the mid game really, really well.
I love what Samjay did there, because I was just telling you how there was only one person on the DMU team with 3 kills, and I was just about to sing Castellan's praises to talk about having this late game champion who's already scaling up and online. Well, now Camille's doing the exact same as well.
No, absolutely. I mean, currently, Cassidy is the sleeping giant. We all know what Cassidy can do. He was a terror he was a very, very threatening and horrible champion to play against throughout a lot of seasons past, but he currently sits on a very fragile position in the early game, scales really well into the late game, but most people opt not to play with him because he's such a hard champion to get into a good position. Solid athlete doesn't have this problem. He plays him anyway, and he's already sitting on 1.5 items. That Sheen is there. Once he gets the second item complete, plus the boots, plus at least half of a third item, we're going to start seeing him come online.
That Lich Bane will be very, very scary as we see Samjay escaping from the unstoppable onslaught of Dardhong, not quite able to take down what would have been the first tower of the game for DMU T1. We've just seen the second Herald being picked up by Soft. He's now going for the duel against Solid E Athlete, flashing away, Rift walking away, just about getting to safety away from the fourth strong of Grey Warwick. But here comes the re-engage, the Solar Flare flashed away from, actually it was just dashed away from in the end by Erisu. The ultimate goes on cooldown, but doesn't lose a key summoner spell. This is such a tight game, but now that Herald is once more in the pocket of Soft, trying to do a little bit more damage to the turret, which is something that so far in this game, Grey Warwick have been doing very, very well.
No, absolutely. Now, the biggest thing here is the fact that DMUs seem to be a little bit too eager on popping their summoners.
Oh, Gragas, you are all sorts of caught out. Dino goes down to the ultimate, coming through from Senna. Really, really nice plays coming out of this newest champion in the game, the Dawning Shadow there, getting the kill, and that's all she wrote for the Gragas. He is now 1, 2, and 2. You
hate to see it. When you're playing a Gragas, your major disengage tool is going to be, when you get caught off, is going to be your explosive cast. You hate to see it when you're being chased down by an Olaf. You throw that explosive cast, he pops his ultimate, and he doesn't go anywhere. He just takes a chunky damage, but like, wait, no! Why is he still on me? Go away!
That's cheating. That's surely not allowed.
That's basically what happened there. I mean, Battle was overextending yet again. DMU are being a little bit overconfident in their positioning on the map. They need to kind of know their place, if I have to be honest, because they're not ahead. They're close, but they're not ahead at all.
Well, I've got to ask the question. Obviously, there is the late game Kassadin insurance that DMU have got, but as they get later and later into the game, are they not lacking slightly in terms of AD damage, having not taken a standard ADC?
Excuse me?
Are they not sort of lacking in terms of attack damage as the game comes later on? I know they've got the Camille who's online, but is it enough?
I would say so, because it's a lot harder to itemize against magic resist than what it is to itemize against physical damage. You're probably going to be lacking a little bit of that consistent AD damage, but it stops being a problem when you just have so much burst damage at your disposal. So you have a Camille who can lock someone down at this point, and she can just one-shot anybody that comes in contact with her. You have Didal that can virtually do the same as a Gragas.
Samjay's perhaps slightly caught out. The taunt is going to land. The unstoppable onslaught is going to get the knockup despite a Hextech ultimatum. A free kill coming for Erisu, now 3-0-2. Meanwhile, Hecarim? There is no Hecarim in this game, AC. Kassadin is going to continue to push in the top lane, able to pick up a turret, continuing the push, but now we see Herald being spawned on a blue buff.
Okay, I mean, Herald goes off. I feel like that might have been an accidental Herald, but
can't sweep it there if I'm honest.
Yeah, I would have to argue that was an attempted sweeper. Now, game plan so far, 21 minutes in. You have the split push potential of Samjay on the Camille. You have the split push potential of Kassadin on Solid E Athlete. He already has a Sheen like we already discussed. He bought himself into Merc Treads so he can actually get away from being collapsed. DMU's game plan is going to be focused around the split push. However, they're being betrayed by the presence of an Ocean Dragon map.
It's making life a lot tough for them, and right now we see Soft trying to catch out Kassadin, but with the Rift Walk, he is able to get to safety. You're talking about the split pushing their AC. Are you expecting to see a sort of 4-1 split, or is it going to be like
1-3-1?
There? They've got the Kassadin and they've got the Camille, so it could be that 1-3-1.
I would absolutely expect the 1-3-1 just because you have a Leona and you have a Heimerdinger to hold a solo lane, and then you have the Camille and the Kassadin on the side lanes that can absolutely handle themselves on the disengage. But like I was saying, you have so many brushes to ward that it makes it super, super unsafe to promote a healthy split push for these champions.
It's going to be really, really tough to know exactly where all of the Grey Warwick lineup are at all times on the map. Koki here taking away the red buff, is running that 1-2-5 scoreline, is down on CS to the Heimerdinger. However, the Rage Blade, the Mana Moon already completed, and now with another back coming in, looking for as many of those upgrades as possible as we see the daggers picked up.
Yeah, Dagger's picked up. Koki is... I mean, we were talking about the lack of physical damage. Koki's going for an AP Kaisa build. I mean, he already... I guess it's standard nowadays. It's a hybrid-ish type build. He already has the Muramana. He already has the Gwyn's Rage Blade. And with that double dagger, what it tells me is that Koki is going for the Nash's Tooth to get the 20% additional cooldown reduction, plus the on-hits and every other sweet thing that comes with that, that Nash's Tooth.
Well, the damage certainly will come out of the Kaiser the later we go, as we see one of those upgrades picked up just there and then. Let me take a moment, however, AC, to talk to you about DMU's Lord and Savior, Solid E Athlete, who now has the fully stacked Seraph's Embrace, has got the Lich Bane completed.
That's a bold statement, calling him the Lord and Savior of DMU. I think there's a lot of weight on Samjay's shoulders. He's pulling a lot of weight there, man. Look at him. He's already got the Titanic Hydra alongside the Tiamat. He's going for a 1v1 on that Scion, who he himself is a pretty chunky boy.
He is pretty tanky indeed. And we see Heimerdinger as well with the best CS in the game, apart from the aforementioned Scion, who right now is going to duke it out against Samjay. We pan away from that one because we do see a little bit of a siege being built up here, this 4-man push. Meanwhile, Samjay ripping through the health bar. Look at the health that's gone from Dart already. That's the Hextech ultimatum. However, it's Samjay who has to back away, not taking any turret shots. It's going to be just a little bit of a trade there. Samjay losing his ultimate, not able to get the kill.
Oh, man. I feel like Samjay might have overstepped on the Hextech ultimatum, but again, it kind of comes back to the lack of vision on the enemy jungle.
Well, that's a flash out of Dardong. He gets himself in all sorts of trouble, and just like that, Solid the Athlete looking for the pickup. The knockup is not quite going to allow, but the Ignite's final tick is enough for Solid the Athlete to pick up the kill to Dardong. However, that is going to be the go signal for the Baron to be started up by the rest of Grey Warwick. They might be down one of their players, but they know he's got teleport to be alive in another 30 seconds. This Baron is going down very, very quickly indeed. Didal waiting on the side, puts the barrel down, gets the vision. The control ward already having been swept out by the Grey Warwick team. They've taken this Baron down to 3,000 health. Another control ward now put in as the Baron goes to 2,000 health, and the stun is going to land onto Erisu, who gets his first death of the game, and Didal has gone straight in looking for potential steal. He gets a stopwatch, the golden at the right moment. Didal dies eventually, but so does Olaf, and just like that, a complete wipe coming out of DMU, and they secure the Baron too.
Oh my goodness, DMU played that to perfection. The teleport being casted in by Samjay. He wasn't even at full HP. He didn't need to be at full HP. He was like, come at me, bro. Got himself a nice little double kill after collapsing Dardong on the bot lane. They say thank you for the leash, and they secure a 4-man Baron. F and chats for Didal in the process, but they still get a 4-man Baron play in the making. And for the first time in this game, they're in a very solid gold lead against Grey Warwick.
AC, we can do better than F in chat for Didal, because, you know, I've been singing Solid the Athlete's praises, you're loving Samjay, but in that play, Didal coming in, the timing on the Zhonya was inch perfect, able to really help his team out. Yes, he gives his life in the process, but everybody is going to be calling worth on that one. A 3k gold lead now, almost built up for the DMU team. They are the underdogs coming into this game, but right now, they are looking like they're looking strong.
And now we have the Ocean plays in hand. Now, the biggest question is, what can DMU actually do with 4 Barons on the field? We already talked about the potential to 1-3-1. Gragas is the only one that doesn't actually have a Baron, but if the 1-3-1 is to materialize, he's always going to be a part of the 3-man squad.
Instead, however, we are going to see priority put down by DMU to try and pick up this dragon. This equalizes the dragons at 2 apiece, with 1 ocean dragon for each of the teams. They're both still 2 away from getting that soul. A lot of the time of this Baron buff burnt by DMU to just secure that one away, making sure that it wasn't going to be a 3-dragon game for Grey Warwick.
Yeah, absolutely. And the positive point, or the positive note to take from this, is that DMU keep on burning precious Baron time. Don't forget that on the preseason patch, the Baron duration has been reduced from 110 seconds to 180. That's a 30-second reduct. But
here we go, the fight is going to be issued. The Unstoppable Onslaught comes in. Again, we see Didal going golden. However, he has to flash himself away, trying to get away from Soft. Meanwhile, the big push is going on in the bottom lane. Kassadin and Camille trying to just backdoor and end this game while the fight goes on here in mid.
Oh, yeah!
Trying to do everything that he can to delay the rest of the Grey Warwick team. But look at the health bars being ripped through. An inhibitor turret is certainly going to be secured here by the team that does not have Baron. The 4 strong here, but they're already losing an inhibitor. Surely the recalls have to come in. It's going to be Dardong who's going back, as we see
Base race
trying to continue taking the inhib. They take the inhib down, but they've already lost 1 Nexus turret with the Baron empowered minions. We were going to see the second Nexus dropping as well. This is going to be the stop of the recall.
Oh my god!
It's completely stuck. It's going to be the second turret one dropping down. Meanwhile, Soksu dies in the base, and now we see Solid the Athlete and Samjay being chased away. What's going to happen in the base? Because Kaiser is still pushing towards the Nexus turret. She's got Soft for company as well. It was all a bait from him. The Nexus turret now in danger for the DMU team. 2 Nexus turrets down for Grey Warwick, but they're the ones pushing.
What is going on? You had a base race going on, but Warwick were really rude on it. Oh my goodness.
Didol goes big, Didol goes home, but here comes Soul. He gets
it.
one, he gets the turnaround, he gets the double kill. Bing, bing, bong!
Bing, bing, bong. Look at the Kassadin at the 28-minute mark. We called it. He was going to be the big boy. There was a lot of weight on his shoulders, and finally he's online. Fear the man that Rift walks. He is 7-3 on the board. He's got a 700 bounty on his head, and Grey Warwick have their backs against the ropes right now.
We have got one hell of a game one on our hands right now. Remember, this is a best of 3 series. Whoever takes this is at match point here in the North Bracket Winter Finals. Both of these teams desperately want to win. Right now, it is a 2,000 gold lead for the team who took 2 Nexus turrets. That is DMU, our underdogs.
I mean, if we look at the scoreboard, 15-16, it doesn't really look... I mean, it is absolutely close game, but it doesn't really highlight what's been the past, like, 10 minutes of this game, which have been basically DMU outplaying Grey Warwick on their hubris.
I'm just taking a breather for a minute, AC.
That's fine. Yeah, you did.
Had me on it,
my friend. You do you, buddy.
We lost 2 Nexus turrets. We lost an inhibitor. We almost lost more Nexus turrets. It was just... the game should have ended, right? But it didn't.
No. The thing is, it could have ended, but the recalls weren't interrupted in a timely manner. Heimerdinger didn't want to overcommit, and I guess that kind of makes sense. And we could be seeing an XPK going on, because we are looking at a Cast and we're looking at a Camille. They both have an innate ability to get around the enemy's backline and get into the enemy base. Reminder, the Nexus is exposed. And both the Camille and the Kassadin have sheens.
So the athlete perhaps looking for some kind of play. However, for now, just going to be content to continue shoving this wave, already taking 1 turret away and shredding through Dardong's health. He may be that chunky boy you were talking about earlier, but Kassadin is well equipped to deal with him.
Well, Camille's in the bot lane. Someone needs to act accordingly.
Problem is, the person who's acting accordingly is soft, and we've got the Baron spawning in about 40 seconds.
Oof. And currently, what we do see is the MU with the full priority over that objective. However, if we look at the minimap, there's absolutely no setup from either team on that big objective. You have the Scuttle Crab done, but that's just about the extent of it.
It is going to be very, very tough for Grey Warwick to get the vision that they need without losing what remains of their base. Their Nexus consistently under threat. Camille with this split push doing work. Solid the athlete split pushing. As you rightly said, this 1-3-1 has been something that so far Grey Warwick haven't been able to deal with efficiently. The one time they took the fight, they almost lost their entire base.
And look at, I want you to take a moment to look at how DMU have their vision set up right now. They have a lot of, or they used to have a lot of vision on the bottom half of the Summoner's Rift. Why? Because they know that that inhibitor is cracked wide open. They know that they have a Kassadin. They know that they have Sam J on the Camille with the teleport online, ready to join any fight that he so wishes to do. Now, the thing is, you always need at least 2 members on Grey Warwick to stop Sam J from plowing through your base and cracking open your Nexus.
And speaking of Sam J, he's looking for Koki. That was his target, and Solid the Athlete was there to back him up. However, wasn't able to get the kill, but he does manage to get an immediate catch onto the Ragnarocking Olaf, who was unable to get out of the Hextech ultimatum, and just like that, dashing over the wall, Sam J's able to help Solid Athlete get himself a double kill. Kaiser is going to die as well. Now Solid the Athlete, he once more, he gets the biggest of shields. He does eventually get shut down by Erisu, but the catch from Sotsu is good. Dardong's in the back, looking for the kill on the Didol, but Sen is trying to duel it out against, I want to tell you, it's support. Portal combat. It's the new ADC against the classic support, and I want to tell you, wins the battle in style. And just like that, the game's going to be over. They're going to rush towards this exposed Nexus, and DMUT1 are going to be 1-0 up in this winter final.
It's not over yet. There's still 10 seconds left on Soft, and there's 3 members of DMU pushing in. Dart Hong is still a very big Scion, and the inhibitor just came back. This is going to buy Grey Warwick just a little bit more time for Soft to come back and Koki to be 3 seconds off. This could actually be the reverse.
Grey Warwick shout, "Chonky boy, save us, you're our only hope," and just like that, he clears their calls, and along with Soft is able to stop the Nexus being destroyed. Soxu flashes away, puts the damage onto Koki, who's taking so much damage from that Heimerdinger turret that he's gonna die once more. I want to tell you now, duking it out against Soft, and that's not a Senna you're fighting, that's a Ben Olaf. Dardong now caught out by the Hextech ultimatum. This is a bloodbath. So far, it's being won by DMU, but now Soxu gets ripped through by the lightning coming from above. Dardong gets the kill onto Samjay, but look at these super minions crashing into the base. They've got to reset. They can't even turn towards the dragon. They can't turn towards the Baron. A third dragon of the game will be secured by solid E-Athlete for DMU, and the game is balanced on a knife's edge.
What is balance these days? You know what I mean? This was yet again DMU. I knew this was gonna happen because DMU had a 3-man barrage coming in. Neither of their split pushes were alive. Camille and Kassadin were dead, so you had to rely on the Leona, on the Heimerdinger, and the Gragas. None of them have any pushing power. I mean, you could argue that Heimerdinger has some pushing power against waves, but not against structures. Okay, and the inhibitor was about to respawn. If they had just cracked open the inhibitor, they could absolutely run for the Nexus and make a case for game. The thing is, the death timers were super low. The correct call there was go into the top lane or go into the mid lane, set up the wave, and set up vision on Baron. Because now you gave up a lot of territory for Grey Warwick to start interacting with the top half of the Summoner's Rift.
So the athlete flashing, using the Enclave, trying to jump on Sen, finally buying a bit of time to get the rest of his team here, and so the athlete managing to take down Sen, but not before he dies to Soft as well. The barrel will connect, will launch Soft straight into that little hole that the teams can disappear into. I want to tell you, dashing down onto Soft, good damage coming through from Soxu, but somehow Soft is going to live. Dardong was completely caught out. I want to tell you, who gets removed from the rift by Koki, who gets his 5th kill of the game on this Kai'Sa. Meanwhile, Didol still looking for potential picks.
Teleport.
He's going to see the recalls coming through. Camille is trying to backdoor. Sanjay, you could be the hero your team wants right now. Erisu trying to stop him. The stopwatch. He goes golden. He dies. There's nothing that DMU can do to end now, apart from, oh wait, they've got a Kassadin with, sorry, they haven't got a Kassadin. They've got a Heimerdinger with teleport as well. I'm not sure that's the play they want to make right now, though.
What are they doing? Oh my goodness, the play was great. The stopwatch just costed Camille at least 3 auto attacks on that tower because it gave the 2.5 seconds that Grey Warwick needed to collapse on the Camille and deny her the Nexus. I mean, sure, the Nexus gets a little bit of HP back, but you're delaying the game so much by committing suicide again and again and again that it's now Grey Warwick's time to commit suicide on the enemy base.
Grey Warwick, they take down the inhibitor once more. However, what will they lose for their troubles? In with the Zenith Blade goes. I want to tell you, throws the Solar Flare down as well. Send his here with as many shields as possible. And Soul the Athlete gets immediately turned on. The Kassadin's removed from the fight. And now I want to tell you, is completely isolated, trying to stop Sen from doing anything. But Koki, with the damage, with the Kassadin, is eventually going to get obliterated by the righteous glory of all things. Soft, however, turns the damage around and takes down, I want to tell you. Meanwhile, Soxu, putting down these turrets, is running a 6-4-6 scoreline on this Heimerdinger. And now he's left with a base defense, along with Samjay's Camille and Didol's Gragas.
My brain legit hurts from this game. And now you have another ultimate from Sign coming in. They're going for the Nexus tower.
Onslaught is used. Soxu goes golden, stops himself from being knocked up. The Nexus turret is gone. That's 3 Nexus turrets destroyed in the rift, and Samjay is gone as well. Dardong tanking things up for days. The Chonky boy is doing it. Soxu can't rip through him fast enough. The Nexus is being targeted, and this is going to be Grey Warwick with the turnaround win, taking game 1 of this series.
Note how the gold is just what it's like 500 in favor of Grey Warwick. This game was not meant to be this close, okay? Grey Warwick, we all agreed. Grey Warwick came into the series as the clear favorite. DMU, sure, they made a lot of mistakes, but by God, did Warwick made a lot of mistakes. And DMU managed to punish them accordingly. The thing is, I don't feel like DMU were prepared to handle Grey Warwick's mistakes. So when they were handed the game, they were like, what do we do? What do we do? Let's do it. Let's do something. The thing is, they made the wrong decisions. They had the idea of what they needed to do to close the game. They just made the wrong decisions on the wrong time.
There we go. Sorry, I lost your audio there for a moment. Hope I didn't interrupt you.
No, that's fine. You're good. I was just
Well,
saying, wrong decisions, wrong time. Several times DMU had the game in their hands. It's just they weren't ready to have the game in their hands. They were being really, really good when they were responding to Grey Warwick. When it came time for them to be proactive, their decision making was very underwhelming.
It was a lucky 7 scoreline for Koki as well. 7-7-7 on the Kaiser at the end of the game. But really, Dard Honged, he was the tanky boy who multiple times was able to save his team. A really fascinating game 1. Just waiting for a word in my ear from Tuction if we're taking a break before game 2. And the answer, AC, you'll be delighted to hear, is that you get a whole 5 minutes of not having to see the worst Christmas hat I've ever seen in my life.
I still haven't seen it, Nadio. Don't intend to look at you anytime soon.
We'll be back very soon.
The atmosphere it's really busy. It's just nice because normally when you're playing, League, you're at home by yourself, just in your room. But to actually have the people around here, to have, the music, to have everyone interested in the same thing, it's fantastic. I think if I was going to focus on one player to trash talk, it would have to be Matt Croft. The man has a massive ego, but to be honest, I think that's the only thing he does have. He's the biggest ego in the NUEL, and he's not even in the main roster of his own team. I don't think he'll have what it takes to take us down in the best of 5.
Good luck, guys. You managed to fluke your way to the finals by beating some teams that were very much better than you. And I guess you're gonna get found out today when we smash you.
We are on to the Rift.
Here we go!
At the moment, as they do get a bit of a catch onto the Morgana, who already has to use the Black Shield on top of herself. Now comes the teleport you were talking about. Doing something top, looking for the damage. That's going to be Kid, who's using the Lance Sprite, trying to get the damage, forcing the flash out of Morgana. No one's dropping down just yet, but it's going to be Yorick who gets the first kill onto the Cogmore, and now the rest of Extra are left to run for their life. Dashes, Lee Brothers, but he finds himself immediately shut down. That's going to be Hecarim getting a kill to high anxiety, but that's going to be the ace for Bristol Whip, and the underdogs are going to be 2-0 up.
They're looking to dethrone the champions, and they are looking like they've got one hell of a shot.
It is our defending champions, the University of Exeter, who find themselves pushed against the wall by the upcomers, the University of Bristol, who have a 2-0 lead in this best of 5 series.
We settle this here and now.
Favor of Exeter. Now Lee Brothers trying to find the Hecarim. It's going to be the lockdown. This is going to be first blood secured by Lee Brothers. The Baron's already gone. It's secured by the 5 members of Bristol Whip, but can they keep those buffs? Here's the fight. What a knock-off! Go in and Crofty gets 2. Chop is going to flash away, and the tumble is there as well. Flash in from Lee Brothers. It's going to be first blood secured by your man, Lee Brothers. To Watley and turned down for Watley. He's gone. It's going to be 2-0 mid securing 1 kill, 2-0 jungle getting another, but 2-0 top unable to pick one up for himself. And Crofty, who went golden, who went into his pool, gets himself a triple kill and completely turns the fight.
Let me just consult the notebook. Silver scrapes? Woo! I'm so ready.
He has just bamboozled the opposition, who bamboozled win for now, but now he's gone.
Spread the defense thin, and the desperation engage comes a lot harder.
Emperor's already used the Black Shield. The Caterpillar's going to lock both Do Nothing Jungle and Everett. They both go golden. This is the fight that Bristol Whip want to take. Watley has managed to pick up one kill, and so has Lee Brothers. Do Nothing top himself is going to get shredded by that Vayne. This is the Vayne that can rip through Hellfire. Exeter are going to win the game. They're going to win the championship. The new champions are going to be Exeter.
And the reverse sweep to come back and reclaim their title. What an amazing performance from Exeter. We wondered about whether their mentality will be strong enough, and look what it means to them. They booked their tickets to the LEC studio in Berlin. They make sure that they are the ones who have their names on those plane tickets over there, and not only to there, but also to the UE Masters as well, to represent Great Britain in that tournament.
Bing, bing, bong. Game 1 is
Stop
in
it.
the books. Grey Warwick have taken the lead against DMUT1 here in this best of 3 series for the North Finals of the Winter Split. And in honour of that main chunky Mandarhung, I brought my own chunky boy along with me. Thor's joining the cast. It's a TriCast, AC. How you feeling?
I'm being replaced by a dog.
No, TriCast. Joined by a dog.
I'm being joined by a dog. This is how I feel. I don't have any words to describe how my emotions are fluctuating right now, but that is pretty much how I'm feeling. So, we have a lot to unpack from last game, don't we? So, let's not stress. I don't get tired of stressing this enough. Grey Warwick came into the series. We knew it. Chat knew it. Everybody knew it. Grey Warwick were supposedly the favorites. They even got themselves a Grandmaster Jungler from the UKLC to sub in at last minute to help them achieve a more consistent victory. Consistency was nowhere to be found throughout that first game. I'll tell you that much. DMU had the game in their hands for so many times, but then you had Grey Warwick with the game in their hands for so many times. Mistakes were made on both ends. Base races were attempted. People died.
A lot of people died.
I don't know. I mean, it felt like neither teams had their monitors on at several given moments, but both of them somehow achieved certain objectives. The thing is, the focus on the dragons wasn't exactly on point. There was a lot of focus on the top side of the map, and the divide, once they saw that there was ocean dragons, there was a lot of divide. Like, I really don't want that ocean dragon, but at the same time, I kind of want to have the dragon soul to eventually have the elder dragon to finish the game. It's, you know, Grey Warwick at the end of the day did secure the win, and now we're at game 2. Hopefully, they will shed some light on what happened last game and maybe try to clean up their act on the second game.
Clean up their act is something that I feel both teams probably want to do, because actually with a little bit more of clean play, I think that either team could have come out the winner of that last game. But here we are in pick and bans, and we're seeing pretty much the same as we saw last time round. Once again, respect for Erisu's Katarina, the double jungle bans coming out, Lee Sin and Jarvan taken away from Didol and Soft respectively.
Hey, Senna's not going to pass this time around either. Senna's not going to pass this time around. And the sides have been swapped out. You have DMU on the blue side with Grey Warwick on the red side. This is kind of going to shift priorities, but not really, because the draft phase for DMU is virtually the same. The only difference is that now they have the first pick priority, and both Caitlyn and Kaiser are open, but my biggest concern is Nautilus. He was open throughout the entirety of the last pick and ban phase.
Well, we'll see whether that is the highest priority. Instead, it looks like taking away this Olaf from Soft is going to be their main point of contention. Didol did have a good game on the Gragas, but, you know, maybe giving himself something he's a bit more comfortable on and removing some of Soft's comfort is exactly what DMU feel is necessary to take game number 2.
I would have to agree on that. Olaf sped up the game really, really hard, but the thing is, there weren't really any tanks to try and stop. Okay, what is this?
Well, I haven't been told that it's a proxy pick just yet, so for now, we are going to see an extra bug in League of Legends and not just the ones around Clash.
Alright, so Amumu is a nice singer. Amumu is a proxy pick. Annie is a proxy pick. Kha'Zix is an actual pick. I do feel like with the lethality items that were added into the game, plus the way the jungle priority was shifted around single target camp, making Gromp the single largest XP disposing camp, Kha'Zix might be in a good position also with the shortening of the respawn timers. Kha'Zix might be in a good position to shine, but he's against an Olaf.
Olaf indeed, as we do see these lock-ins coming thick and fast. Leona once again being picked up for I want to tell you. Meanwhile, the Azir is going to be the final lock-in of this stage, and I'm just getting a message which tells me it's probably not going to be an Azir. Instead, that is a Heimerdinger once more, and I was just about to say the Nautilus still available. It would seem like madness not to pair it with a Kaiser. No madness this time round, just pure logic coming out of Grey Warwick.
No, absolutely. I mean, they've already made all the mistakes that they had to make on the first game. They saw how close that game could have been, or they saw how close that game was, and how badly that game could have gone. Now, they're pulling all the stops here. They're going for one of the trinities of the bot lane. They're going for the Kai'Sa Nautilus. Nautilus has a lot of ease to deal with a Leona. He has a lot of ease to deal with the Heimerdinger. Kai'Sa can absolutely follow up, and she's going to love having someone to follow up with her on the dives and someone to actually set up her dives.
Meanwhile, Aatrox again being banned away. This time, Sion taken off Dardhong. No Chunky Boy this time round. Sorry, Thor.
No, but there's a lot of other chunky boys to go for Dardhong here. Sion off the board, but I can still see a couple of options. Maokai comes to mind, even though Maokai hasn't been seen competitively for the past 2 seasons maybe.
And also, you've got the fact that you've got this Nautilus as well. That's going to be a little bit more of a tanky boy too. So
no, he is, but he's not
in
going to be
comparison to the Senna you had last time round.
Sure, yeah, no, I believe that the Nautilus is picked here for more of a synergy reason rather than chunky boy reason, because Kai'Sa doesn't really synergize with Senna. Senna being a poke champion, Kai'Sa being an all-in champion, and it's like having a Rakan paired up with an Ezreal. They work in the long run, they just don't work in lane.
Kassadin is banned away from Solid Athlete, who I felt had a really strong showing in the last game. The card is the final ban coming through, and it's going to lead to the Crocodile being picked up.
It's a Crocodile. Crocodile is flexing, by the way. He can go into the mid lane, he can go into the top lane. He's dangerous that way. What I'm afraid about right now is the lack of magical damage from the side of Grey Warwick. We've talked about how easy it is to itemize against against physical damage versus magical damage, but another chunky pick in the top lane that is very, very dangerous and barely has any opposition is the mighty Ornn. Ornn has surged in popularity, in competitive popularity so much in this preseason that it's absurd. The removal of Kleptomancy and the buffs that they made to Aftershock and a couple of other items makes Ornn a tremendously huge pick in that top lane.
Last time round, Anivia was a proxy pick for DMU, and I feel like that might be the same one more time before we get to see this mid lane locking coming in. What will Erisu play? Last time round, it was an Ahri, and that Anivia, just so everybody knows, is going to be an Ahri, so no chance for the Ahri to be picked up this time for Erisu.
All right, so this time Solid Athlete is playing a little bit closer to home. We talked about how much he plays Assassins. I mean, Assassin players are absolutely a dying breed, especially since last season. This season probably heads the same way. Ahri, absolutely an assassin. You said it yourself. She plays with the Glacial Augment to try to be a little bit more, wait a second.
Don't worry, it's proxy, don't worry.
Is it? Because I feel like that could be Nautilus Smith with Alistair bot lane.
Well, instead, it's going to be Alistair is Anivia, because they couldn't pick the Anivia because it had already been used as a proxy pick. So Anivia's going into the mid lane, and Nautilus will be the support, Renton up in the top lane. It all makes a certain level of sense when you think about it. I've just had word in my ear that the other final that's going on right now, which unfortunately, obviously not able to cover both because they happen at the same time. The South final between Brunel and Bristol. Currently Brunel with a 1-0 lead.
Okay, that's fair enough. Now, back to our series. Anivia, no Alistair this time. Anivia into Ahri. Ahri's going to try to all in Anivia more times than not. Anivia's always going to have, or more times than not, Anivia's going to have the Ignivia. Anivia is a phenomenally great champion to play in anti-siege comps. Anivia, even if you're behind, Anivia is going to be great in stalling out the game to a point where your team can actually be in a carry position. Surely, though, that won't be necessary considering that you have a Renekton, but just in case the Renekton fails against the Ornn, which is very likely, because Ornn is just an absurd pick right now in the top lane, you're going to have the Anivia to stall out the plays and to allow Kha'Zix and Kai'Sa to scale up in their game.
It's an interesting, different style of champion to see on Erisu, who we know more for the assassin-style AP champions, the Katarina, the Ari. Meanwhile, we're going to see a huge amount of damage coming out of people like Soft with his Kha'Zix. We've got Dardhong on the Rek'Sai, and last time around, Mr. 777 himself, Koki on the Kai'Sa.
Yeah. So Kai'Sa here being locked in, as you would expect. It's going to be the Kai'Sa Nautilus, even though I would like to see the Nautilus in the mid lane. Flashback to the Worlds 2019, where going to be prioritized Nautilus in the mid lane so many times that people just didn't know how to handle it. Now, what I am very curious to see is, once again, the Heimerdinger Leona in the bot lane. We saw what it did last time. Basically, you had the Heimerdinger just preventing the enemy team from doing anything virtually. Leona going all in, as she should. And Heimerdinger just tossing eggs from the back line to land stuns, follow up the damage. And overall, just, not allow the enemy team to play. Nautilus is a bit different from Senna. Nautilus has Aftershock. Nautilus is tanky. Nautilus can sustain the incoming damage. And Nautilus will try to take you out of position away from the safety of your turrets.
It's a slightly different playstyle coming through in many different ways for Grey Warwick. However, they will be hoping for the same result in this game, though probably in a slightly less pantomime way than maybe we saw in Game 1.
Maybe, but still, it's going to be a tough bot lane to handle. I mean, it's Heimerdinger, it's still Leona. I'm more concerned about what's going to happen in the mid lane. There's obviously going to be a lot of interactions from the jungle. The thing is, Kha'Zix kind of fades out into the background as Olaf runs through the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game.
Unless he gets fed.
Unless he gets fed, that's absolutely true. If Kha'Zix gets fed, then Olaf is nothing more than another farmable minion in the jungle that's going to give him a nice big chunk of gold. But the thing is, looking at DMU's team composition, I honestly am having a hard time trying to see where Kha'Zix can get fed from.
Suppose you've got the opportunity to try and pick up some kills where you've got the early power coming through from Rempton in the top lane early. Ari before she gets the mobility of her ultimate pre-6 maybe, but certainly you'd expect a team of DMU's quality to be able to play safe enough to not allow the bug to get too fed. However, Kha'Zix is one of the few people who can actually duke it out against Olaf in the early stages, especially with the isolation available, and it does mean that taking dragons is so very quick with the reduced health pool that they have as well.
It's tough to say, really. You'd think that Kha'Zix on a 1v1 against Olaf would be decent, and he probably is. I guess it depends on who gets the jump on who first. Because Olaf thrives in fighting while low. If he gets low enough, he pops his W, he starts healing up like a maniac, plus he's got the true damage from his Reckless Swing, plus he's got the Conqueror. Kha'Zix is not going to go for Conqueror, so past that initial burst, Kha'Zix is going to be lacking in the damage department. So he needs to time his fights really well, and if he wants to have a chance of fighting against Olaf, he needs to find him, he needs to catch him off guard, clearing a camp, trying to clear a camp low to get that extra attack speed. So it's an iffy situation that I would. I mean, I'm biased. I'm biased. I like Olaf. I really like Olaf, and I do feel like Olaf has the upper hand here. But again, I'm biased. I don't know. I don't know anything.
So, I want to point out this is no flame coming from me. This is purely from the man, who pulls all the strings to the production. Patrick is calling out. I want to tell you. And he's pointed out a recent win rate on this Leona of the last 8 games being played, excluding custom games, being a 0% win rate. Now,
wait, what?
For me, the Leona was pretty decent in the last game, but, made it 0 in 9.
The Leona was very decent last game. The problem is, in the last game, the composition wasn't exactly ideal to Leona to have follow-ups to her engages, so more times than not, you saw Leona jump in, and virtually nobody would jump in after her. Sure, you had Cassidy, sure you had Camille, but more times than not, they were nowhere near the Leona to actually follow up to those engages. So last game you had the 1-3-1, or you had the 1-3-1 split push of the Camille, Cassidy, and the 3-man death squad of a Gragas, Heimerdinger, Leona that would eventually collapse upon each other. But again, no synergy with the Leona. This time around, it might be a little bit different.
It might indeed, and it will need to be a bit different for DMU if they are to pick up this game, because even though a lot of things maybe look like they're going in their favour with that 1-3-1 split that was working out so well, and it looked like Grey Warwick had no way of dealing with for long periods of the last game, eventually it was the win for the team who were unbeaten through the playoffs, who won the regular grand final, came into this game. Now, on a lot of double elimination brackets, you see the team who win the regular final come into the grand final with a 1-0 lead. That is not the case here in the NUEL finals. We are going for just a flat best of 3 where neither team has that 1-0 advantage, which is just as well for DMU. Otherwise, they would be out of on their asses right now.
Now, one big thing that I'm looking at here is Soft not bringing Electrocute on a Kha'Zix. He's actually going for the Conqueror. So throw everything that I said out the window, because the prolonged fights are actually going to be slightly beneficial for the jungler of Grey Warwick. It's an interesting adaptation, one that I've seen before, but I don't know. I have mixed feelings. You're going to lack the big burst in the earlier stages, but you're absolutely going to thrive in the later game fights.
Well, we have got 2 compositions that are all ready to fight it out on the Summoner's Rift. The only thing that we are waiting for is the absolute toaster that is my laptop to actually load into League of Legends so that we can get the game started. But as soon as it is there, we'll bring you this contest in all of its glory. Perhaps this game will be slightly kinder to the casters' voices than the last one was.
Hey, man, just believe the mess. You know what I mean? Just believe in the mess. Big things here. Conqueror teams, the team with the most Conquerors usually wins, because Conqueror is quite an abusable rune right now, especially with the mage, but I haven't seen neither of these teams abusing it too harshly. You see the Renekton with the Conqueror, which is pretty standard, or has been fairly standard throughout the last competitive season. You have Aftershock on both the supports, and then you have Press the Attack on the Kai'Sa. Press the Attack probably tells me that he wants to go for that hybrid build. And it would make sense considering that you just have so much physical damage output from the top in your jungle.
Well, we had Dardong last time, the Grasp of the Undying on the Scion, able to get himself so tanky. This time it's going to be Ornn running the Grasp of the Undying, trying to make sure that he is the chunkiest boy on the Rift this time round. And I have great news for you. The toaster has finally popped up and we are good to go.
Alright, so I don't understand why Ornn doesn't bring Omnistone, because clearly it would be terrible here. And I like a good meme.
Well, we are having the sort of start that I just love in these games, where we see a 5-man death squad looking for an early pick.
They're either looking for an early pick or just overall looking for the invade, because if they get priority over Olaf's jungle, if they retrieve his red buff, that's less of a very big. It's less of a resource that Olaf is going to have access to really bring in terror to the solo laners of Grey Warwick. Now, they're absolutely going for this invade. The thing is, are they going to commit to the invade, or are they just looking for information?
Well, they look for information, they find out where the Heimerdinger was, they manage to take out his turret, but they get nothing else at all. A bit of wasted time almost coming in for Grey Warwick, Send and his troops being sent back to their various lanes. Meanwhile, Olaf and also the Ahri and also the Ornn have pressurized the red buff in response. This could be the potential for a 3-buff start for Didal and a good start for DMU.
Weird decision coming in from Soph. I mean, he had the upper hand on the enemy red buff. He might as well just commit to it and take a hold of the objective. Instead, he just goes for his blue buff as opposed to the red. But I guess he's going to go vertical right off the bat, as to waste as little time as possible. Now he has the mana sustain as well, cooldown reduction, all that good stuff. And he's going straight for Olaf's Red. However, he is going to get spotted out.
I think that because of jumping over the ward, he actually is exactly as you say, going to get spotted out, and this is going to lead Ahri to contesting this red buff, making life very, very hard for the Kha'Zix, and it's even more likely now that we're going to see this 3-buff coming through. However, Send managing to get the catch onto I want to tell you, the man with a 0% win rate having to flash himself away. Soft going for the flash over the ball, the ignite put down, and that's going to be first blood coming through. It's I want to tell you, who loses life despite throwing both his summoners out. He's going to be the one to die once again.
Ah, yes. The classic Fiesta that hasn't yet cooled down from last game. The tempo is still going, ladies and gentlemen. We still have a party on, and it's only just begun. We were talking about how Soft could get fed. This is exactly how he can get fed. Throughout obnoxious skirmishes that should have never happened. And look at him, he's about to get another kill.
Soft manages to get the smite onto the red buff. He flashes away before Didol can take him down, but the ignite from Ari is enough to get a return kill. Charm is going to land on Nivea. However, there is the root, there is the stun, and we do see Sol the Athlete in all sorts of trouble. Picks up a red buff, but then immediately passes the red and the blue buff over to Send, who takes that kill all for himself.
I just want to point out that Send has 100% kill participation in 3 kills, and he's still at level 1. He pulled all of these those 2 assists in a kill with nothing but his dredge line. Nautilus, ladies and gentlemen, is a fair champion.
Dardong's
Keep that in
trying to take
mind.
that 100% kill participation away from him, trying to remove Samjay all by himself. I completely agree with you. Now we see the level 2s coming in, and that's a red buff on both Koki and Send here in the bot lane. Life is surely going to be hellish for DMU in these opening parts of the game.
Honestly, it's hard to tell, because the thing is, sure, you have Koki and Send with red buffs, but how are they going to use those red buffs? They can't get close to the Heimerdinger and the Leona.
We did see that Dardhong completed the back and then teleported straight back up, taking a good chunk of Dardhong's health for his trouble. Meanwhile, Dardhong himself completing this recall. We'll see whether he's able to walk it back out and keep the teleport advantage. No, he's not.
Nah, which is weird. Which is very, very weird. The way this pushed in against him, he had no need to go for that teleport. Much so, in fact, that Didol now is near the top lane. He can just gank Dardhong and completely ruin his lane if he succeeds in eliminating Dardhong. So that teleport, I agree, that teleport was a bit of a waste. He could have kept the teleport for the teleport advantage.
Yeah, slightly surprised by that one. We'll see whether the CS advantage that he maybe tries to get back in his favour, currently being 8 CS down, makes it worth it. Right now, not entirely sure about that one. I asked you the question earlier, what if Soft manages to get himself fed? He's 1-1-1 after 4 minutes already, looking very, very strong. He's going to be able to go back and get himself pretty close to that Warrior Enchant on his next recall. Meanwhile, he's happy to just immediately invade the jungle of Olaf, who's having a much more rough time.
Mind you, sure, Kha'Zix has 1 kill, 1 assist, but this shouldn't have happened. This should have never happened, okay? In a normal scenario, this would have never happened. What's happening right here? This isn't League of Legends. This is something else this is something else we're witnessing, okay?
Wait, am I a PUBG caster now?
This is pure abuse of an inexperienced jungler who was just getting abused. He was getting bullied in his own side of the map.
Oh, don't do Didol like that. He didn't have a flash. He was completely dead to right. Soft completing his second kill. Going to be able to take away the Mountain Dragon as well. Everything coming up trumps for Grey Warwick in the opening stages of this second game of the best of 3 series. They must feel like they've got one hand on the trophy. Is there a trophy?
Sure.
Get them a trophy.
If there is a trophy, they surely will get one to raid. Because, I mean, they're doing pretty fine. Dardong just pretty well outplays Sam J here. Sam J is still doing pretty well on the ore, and he's out farming Dardong, and he's out leveling his counterpart as well.
Crucially picking up level 6 there, but Dardong himself having got level 6 as well. Both of the flashes available on these 2 top laners. This is going to be the Call of the Forge God issued. Dardong trying to get the stun down. He's going to dodge away from the Call of the Forge God knockup. Didol looking for a return kill, but has already lost his top laner. Flash being burned by Samjay as he rings around the jungler. It's a level 6 versus a level 4, but the level 4 takes it in the end. Didol able to get himself onto the board.
Oh, that was a flop. Call the Forge God. This was actually really beneficial for Dardong. I mean, sure, he didn't pop the flash of Sam J, but it was a 2v1 where Dardong could actually manage to get a kill.
Send connects with the dredge line, but it's he who will die first. I want to tell you is going to pass a kill over as well. That's Leona getting a kill, and Kha'Zix getting a kill in response. Definitely, again, favouring the team that is known as Grey Warwick as they look to pick up another kill, but Soft caught out by the stun. The turret's finally able to take him down, but not before Koki's able to get a kill into the Heimerdinger. The kills are coming thick and fast. One more time, we got a Fiesta on our hands.
7 minutes into the game, you would expect, what, to have 2-3 kills maybe if the game was getting sped up? You have 11 kills. The game has barely just begun. The second rotation of buffs is only happening now, and you already have junglers dying twice.
Worth pointing out that I did say the Mountain Dragon had gone over to Grey Warwick. It did not in the end. That was cancelled out, just like Solid the Athlete might find himself cancelled out in a moment, having to use that dash just to get himself to safety, burning the ultimate. Didn't actually have the flash available for just a few seconds, but just about stays alive.
Just about stays alive, but he goes back in.
Oh, he doesn't stay alive for much longer, though. That's going to be the stun landing. But actually, it's Send who's caught out by the Ignite. Didol's chasing down Erisu. Erisu does have Egnivia available and may well have to use it. Can he retreat under turret? He doesn't actually burn the passive either.
Okay, he could have absolutely committed to it. All he needed to do was not reset the auto attack that he reset, get the other axe, and throw it back in. I mean, he was in range to throw the axe. Arisu already had his flash popped out. Didol has his own flash. I mean, sure, you probably wouldn't have to flash it, but just throw another axe in.
Oh, dearie me. Dadhong here trying to abuse the on as much as he possibly can. Not able to actually pick up any further kills other than that one we saw in the 1 versus 2 situation earlier on. Got to ask questions about Sen, though. That's twice now we've seen him going super, super aggressive and being the first one called out by the kills.
Oh, no, absolutely. You can ask all the questions you want. I just don't have answers for you, man.
Oh, there are no answers. Only questions being raised. Here comes the latest gank. Send is dashing himself straight in. Doesn't have the flash available, only the Hex flash, which takes far too long to charge. Not able to throw this one down. But again, we do see that the bottom half of the river is just completely vision controlled by Grey Warwick, as they might look to get themselves this Mountain Dragon sometime in the near future.
No, absolutely. The Mountain Dragon is going to be the objective here to take home. You want to get the bruisers that you have in your team comp a little bit tankier, just to be able to sustain that extra bit of damage that DMU have to throw at them. So gaining priority over that bot lane is not only going to be important to acquire the dragons, but also to try and start shutting down the Heimerdinger and the Leona in that bot lane.
Meanwhile, Charm is going to connect onto Erisu. Remember, he does still have the passive available, just about hanging onto that one earlier on, but doesn't have the flash. So does have to be careful around Soil the Athlete, who showed just what he could do on the casting. Now he's playing the Ahri. We do see Mountain Dragon picked up by Soph and the rest of his team. A nice little bonus to the magic resistance. The Charm is once again going to connect, and finally we are going to see some scrambled eggs. It's going to be Erisu into egg form. The question is, will support come through in time? Here comes the Leona backing up Soil the Athlete. Send trying to get the chase down. It is going to be the potential for the dredge line. It's going to connect. Flash burn from Solid the Athlete. Didn't have the ultimate because he'd already used it onto Erisu, who loses the passive, but Solid loses the flash.
It was a weird interact. I mean, I get that Solid the Athlete wanted to at least burn the passive of Erisu, but the thing is, he knew that Grey Warwick had just done Dragon. That was overextending to the point where you wasted blew all of your cooldowns to just get Anivia's passive. Might not be worth it in the long run.
Meanwhile, Soph is now 3-2-2. The Warrior Enchant completed for this Kha'Zix. The same can be said for Olaf, however, who's running the 2-2-1 scoreline, despite having the slightly poor early game, has managed to keep himself ahead on farm. Yes,
that's a big thing about having being a jungler in the new season, is that you have access to a lot of CS. What we've been seeing is Soph just trying to turbo gank the lanes and trying to put down as much pressure as he can. The thing is, this is going to be beneficial for Soph in the long run, because Olaf in the late game is just going to be an axe throwing, running Viking that's going to be very, very angry.
Send going really aggressive, but without any support.
I love Send.
I want to tell you, it's actually taking more damage than the Nautilus boy. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our new Chonky boy for the game, and it is Send who once again lands the dredge line. Does have the depth charge available as well, throws it straight down onto the Heimerdinger, but Send once more taking damage. You might love him, but he's given up his life. Koki manages to get a kill. That one actually goes over to Send in the end, and it's going to be a 2-for-1 as in comes the Olaf, and Didol is now 3-2-1. Absolute party in the bot lane.
Nice flash against the wall. Unfortunately, you hate to see it, but it happened. That was Koki flash against the wall. I mean, I love Send. I didn't know this player up until now, but I absolutely love Send, because every time he sees a window to have a dredge line, he absolutely stones that window. He cracks it wide open. He doesn't care. Is it the mayor's? It doesn't matter. He just throws his dredge line straight through it. Is it going to kill me? Doesn't matter. We'll find out later.
Oh, Glacial Storm put down to Solid the Athlete, who lands the charm response. Remember, no charm is available. Yet another dredge line. This one connects onto Solid the Athlete. Ahri is going to die. Send now has 3 kills, and he wants a 4th. Give it to him. He doesn't get it. Erisu steals it from him. That is just not on.
Again, is there a target? Yes. Can I dredge line? Yes. Do it. Am I gonna die? We'll find out later. Doesn't matter. Just do it.
Oh, what a game we have as the stun is going to connect onto Koki, trying to fight this one out. But with the Olaf arriving, that is going to be Soksu picking up his second kill of the game, now having completed the Luden's Echo as well. 18 kills, 12 minutes. Welcome to the NUEL.
All right, this is fair enough. I mean, sure, Koki was a little bit overextended in that position. He wanted to take the plates. Absolutely. It's understandable. But no, you just saw a fight rolling out in the bot side of the map. You probably want to back off, especially if your team's going... Wait, what?
Send? What are you doing, buddy? This time he's going to have to use the dredge line. Oh, no, he's not. He's going to just turn around and land onto the idol, but Soft putting the damage down. Soft, however, seeing his health rip through, and he has to get himself to safety. Another dredge line, another death for Send. The man who has played 4 different roles on this team is hard-inting in this game, but it doesn't matter because Dardong is here. The tanky old crocodile is ripped through as well. The idol now on a rampage of 4, 2, and 3 on the Olaf. What in the blue blazes is this game?
That was a calculated error, but by God, is Dardong bad at math.
I'm just losing it completely in this game. I love League of Legends so damn much sometimes when it's like this.
Man, I mean, usually when you see a ward in the middle of 4 people, or at least when I see a ward in the middle of 4 enemies, my last reaction is, let me teleport in the middle of all of them and see what happens. Probably not the idea you want to have. Especially think when SamJ has teleport as well, and he's able to follow up to you.
Do you think Send knows how Heimerdinger turrets work? Because he just keeps walking head first into them to clear them out, rather than letting Kai'Sa do the hard work.
You're missing the point. He has a window to throw the dredge line. He throws it. It doesn't matter if he knows how the turrets work or not. He can throw the dredge line. He'll throw it.
Well, Send is 3, 4, and 5. He has the joint highest kills on his team. He has by far the most deaths on his team, but I'll tell you what, he's giving us some entertaining League of Legends. Right now, it's a 500 gold lead for the Grey Warwick team as they look to try and get themselves at 2-0. Here comes the dredge line. There's the connection. That's going to be depth charge landing. And just like that, Solid the Athlete finds his health bar obliterated. A 4th kill of the game for Send. He's decided to be the one-man carry.
I mean, speaking of, touching a little bit on the point where Send has the most sets in his team. Well, to make an omelet, you need to break some eggs, dude. And there he goes, break some more eggs.
That's really what he's got. He's got a Nibiru behind him who doesn't want to see his egg being broken. Sen losing so much of his health. The flash from Olaf is going to be enough to get the kill onto the Nautilus, but he's going to lose his life in response to Ragnarok. Not enough. And just like that, Sof is able to get one. Flash away over the wall from the Anivia, trying to stay alive. Sof jumping forward, jumping back. Here comes Koki with the damage on this Kai'Sa. That's going to be Heimerdinger taken down next. Meanwhile, Koki staying alive for now, but SamJ has other ideas. Meanwhile, I want to tell you, he's looking for an omelette, and he's going to be able to die, not get that kill. That's going to be Erisu flashing away, sorry, not flashing away, picking up a kill onto Leona. Meanwhile, SamJ, the last surviving member, Solid the Athlete, who died, is now back to life, ready to come back to life, back to the lane again, maybe just to give another kill over to Sof. 26 kills, 15 minutes.
And in the meantime,
why would you watch All-Stars when you've got NUEL?
Mind you, this was a 4v5 fight because Zardhong just completely went full zoom on his screen and went, I don't even know what's going on. I just want to push the top lane. And push the top lane, he did.
Meanwhile, second dragon of the game is being started up. This one is an Infernal. That means that we're going to be seeing either the cloud or the ocean arising. Send, there's a target there. Use Dredge Line. What are you doing, son?
I don't know. I'm thoroughly disappointed. But I guess he's waiting for more targets to show up.
Yeah, a better chance of landing it if you've got 3 targets to aim for. The dragon, of course, is secured. The oceans arise for the second time this game, and that's going to be great for the Kazakhs.
Yeah. So you already have a mountain. You also have an Infernal now. And now you have the ocean. Like you said, it's great for the Kazakhs, but you know who also it's great? Who is it also great for?
Send!
Exactly. He can hide in those brushes waiting for the perfect dredge line. And nobody will see it coming because there are just way too many brushes for you to ward them all.
3,000 gold lead now, just like that Grey Warwick building that one up. No one's gone anywhere near the Herald in this game so far. Shelly definitely feeling a little on the rejected side.
Wait, whom?
Shelly, the Herald.
Oh, no, absolutely. No priority in the top lane. You've basically had an island all the way through on the Dardhong versus SamJ story. Despite the fact that Dardhong already took the top lane tower, it doesn't really matter at the end of the game. It's just a little bit of gold in his hands. But speaking of Shelly, I think she's going to get something. Never mind.
Send, you've got more targets coming your way. Just wait a moment or two, and that Leona might show her face, and a dredge line can be awaiting.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we do see Soxu just clearing out the vision, the game having slowed down ever so slightly, and that's as the Herald is started up by Soph.
The only reason why the game's slowing down is because Sen hasn't seen anyone yet. And now he's seen Solid the Athlete. He's just waiting for the perfect... Oh, come on.
That's a dredge line away because Solid the Athlete actually trying to land the charm, but here comes Dardhong. It's a good retaliation, and we're going to see the depth charge connecting onto Solid the Athlete. Dardhong has plenty of damage as we see the flash being burned. That's going to be Dardhong returning. We're getting a kill onto Solid the Athlete, and now here comes the rest of the team. I want to tell you, putting the Ignite down, but out gets the Crocodile.
Oh my God.
And gets himself to safety. Meanwhile, I want to tell you, is going to be the next one to get focused down as Erisu gets the kill, but then walks into 4 turrets, and one of them is an absolutely massive boss man. Meanwhile, Koki now trying to chase onto Didol. Look at the damage coming through the dashboard, the killer instinct, but it's Didol who takes down Koki. One more attack from Soph will be enough, and just like that, Soph kills off his opposition jungler. Soxu lives once again. The rest of his team, not so lucky.
Oh no, it looked good for Didol, but at the end of the day, he still fell to the power of 5-7 Kazakhs. In the meantime, this was another 4v5 fight as SamJ was just focusing on the bot lane, taking down the tower. This has been the story for this series. It's basically a lot of fights with very little focus on the objectives. All these fights are happening, and truth be told, the teams that are coming up ahead when it comes to objectives is the teams that lose the fights.
In goes, I want to tell you, and just like that, Soxu absolutely one-bang send, who is sent straight back to the fountain. Heimerdinger getting 1 kill, but the return kill is there yet again. Kazakh's doing absolute work. He is now 6, 3, and 7. Yes, he gave up his life this time, but now here comes the core of the Forge God. Egnivir is back once more, knocked up into the air, flip-a-flop in that omelette like a pancake. Heimerdinger getting the shutdown.
Finally, they find the kill on Arisu. It was a hardship to find it. It was very well fought, but they got the shutdown on the Anivia. Now, she won't have an egg, and she's vulnerable for the upcoming, 4 minutes, I dare say? But
yeah,
still.
I think it's 5 minutes on the Anivia pass.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
More or less. So they're going to have that window of opportunity to start kind of abusing the fact that Arisu didn't have his summoners up, but he will have flash ups enough. He'll just have to play safe and keep on clearing waves like he's been doing up until now. We're 19 minutes in. CS is not at all impressive. I wonder why, really.
What an insane game we've got here. I mean, it's just been, last time we had the dueling base race going on. This time round, it's just send going, kill all targets. Now Dardhong's trying to chase down onto Samj, but with that Undying grasp of the Undying, he is so tanky. Koki, however, not quite so tanky, gets caught out by the Solar Flare. That's going to be the rockets coming through from Soxu, who is now 7-7 on this Heimerdinger, and he could be one of the best hopes that DMU have of taking this game and equalizing the series.
That's at least a third time this game that we've seen Koki getting one shot, or not one shot, but caught off guard, overextending when they even didn't have any vision.
Flash forward from Send, gets the depth charge onto the Heimerdinger, who flashes away. Solid the Athlete able to get the kill onto Send, who has now had 7 deaths in this game, and I'm sure his team will be more than happy to remind him of that in the future. Meanwhile, teleport comes in from Samj, leaving Dardhong already having joined his team. Meanwhile, Olaf continuing the push on the top lane. Herald is going to be summoned by Soph as they look to try and break this outer turret here in the mid lane, but look at the turrets that are being gained by Didol in the top lane. There's such a split across this entire map.
I am very impressed with how DMU are playing the map right now. They're avoiding full 5v5 fights, and they're allowing the one-off member to split push freely. And so far, they've taken 2 side lane towers. It's going to make it a lot easier to take that mid lane tower.
Problem is, AC, the side lane player there was Didol, which meant the completely uncontested 3rd dragon being picked up. Now it is dragon match point in terms of getting this Ocean Soul.
And eventually getting the Elder Dragon as well. I mean, sure, we're talking about a 35 minute power spike, but it can still be a possibility here. Reminder that the game is hanging by a thread. There's just about 1,000 gold separating both of these teams. Soph might be in trouble.
Yeah, he's able to leap himself away. He thought he'd caught out Didol, but Didol was not isolated, so the extra damage did not come through from the Kazakhs. Not able to pick himself a kill onto the opposition jungler at this particular instance. We have got the Baron on the map. So if a good pickup comes through, we could see the Baron turned onto by either of these two teams. Dardhong waiting in the wings, perhaps looking for a flank instead, but turning his attention to the final outer turret that remains on the Rift for the DMU side, and he's going to go straight down to the bot lane.
I guess Grey Warwick are finally taking a page off the books of DMU. They notice, okay, they're taking the side towers as we're taking fights, so let's try to do the same. Let's bait a fight. Let's get everyone from DMU in the mid lane, and let's commit Dardhong onto the side, because let's be real, he's Renekton, he's got the Black Cleaver, and he's getting really close to the second item. Another engage comes through.
Nice block there from, I want to tell you, that would have for sure been a dead Soxu had it not been for Leona giving her life for the cause. Now the Call of the Forge God comes in. So far it is a 1-for-1 with both of the supports having died in the early engages. Yet again, Send doing his best with the engage, but then dying immediately after. Still not as chunky a boy as he would like to be. Meanwhile, Dardhong is waiting on the wings, but the siege is good coming in. The stun is going to land onto Soxu. The charm thrown out by Solid the Athlete. Not going to connect this time.
I'll tell you what, a fight without Dardhong, without Sen's dredge lines isn't a fight to me. It doesn't feel the same.
Glacial Storm does good damage, but not enough. And there is Eggnivia one more time, and there it goes with Didol throwing the axes through.
Oh, look at the Baron pit.
Oh, wait, this is a dangerous game being played. Soft is already so low, trying to take away this Baron. This is a two-man Baron being attempted at 23 minutes, and I don't think the damage is... I could well be wrong, because the teleport comes in, and Dardhong is there to help secure this one, and that's going to be Baron on 4 members of the Grey Warwick squad. They sneak this one away in the middle of the night.
What the heck is going on? How did this happen? Who made the decision to go for Baron when your mid lane is under siege?
And how did it work?
How exactly? The thing is, DMU had 4 members in the mid lane. They took down Risu, which is basically their only opposition to a siege. They take down the Anivia, and they decide to back instead of pushing the tier 1 tower in the mid lane. Again, decision making not on point here from DMU. Sure, they're great on responding. They're great at responding to Grey Warwick's aggressions, but they're not too great at making their own independent decisions.
This game is all the levels of nuts that we had in game 1, plus some. We've got 39 kills and we're only 24 minutes in. The Baron has been picked up, but already we see just how good the siege composition is coming out of DMU. Already Grey Warwick are unable to try and actually push in despite having gained this buff.
Oh, hello.
Soft looking for the engage. Zenith Blade is going to catch on to him, but that's going to be yet another dredge line. This time, Soxu is going to die. He gets shut down, and just like that, it is a good-looking fight for the Grey Warwick team. However, return kill comes in as Sam J joining the fight, but Soft is ripping through the entire team. Just like that, gets the Alex Ich style Kazakhs reset and takes down 2. An 8-3-9 Kazakhs. Meanwhile, Dardhong is just running right in the bot lane. Nothing Didol can do to stop him, and with the Baron empowered minions, the inhibitor is under threat.
Absolutely. This is the play that Grey Warwick were looking for. A clean play. Yeah, they lost Sen, but Sen already made his job. He already done his work. He already got a dredge line off. He got the initiation. He got the fight set up perfectly for Grey Warwick. And they're now plowing through the mid lane. They got the bot lane tower down as well. And they're tucking in DMU nice and close to their base.
Just as it looked like Grey Warwick weren't going to be able to do too much with this Baron buff, they get themselves 2 crucial inner turrets. Not quite able to crack that inhibitor turret just yet, but it's been left on very, very low health and surely will be an easy target to take down if another fight goes like that last one in favour of Grey Warwick.
It's going to be up to DMU to try to deny that big play from Grey Warwick, but the more they lose these fights, the bigger the gap becomes. Right now, Grey Warwick are sitting on a 6,000 gold lead. A lot of items being constructed here by the squad on the red side, and my eyes kind of befall on Soph here, who already is looking at his 4th big item, and he's already got a BF sword.
Good wall thrown down by Erisu. It's going to be a lot of damage being taken by the Inhibitor, but he's able to get himself away from, I want to tell you, who is not quite so lucky. Dardhong picking up that 1 kill, but look at the Olaf on the backline trying to take down Erisu and Solid the Athlete.
He's alive!
Secure that kill. Meanwhile, Send flashing himself away. Send actually lives in a fight, but will the rest of his team be quite so fortunate? Dardhong still has a massive health, and with Soft chasing as well, this is going to be an easy execute onto Soxu. He flashes away. He buys himself a little bit of time. Sam J with the knock-up. The Zonya's being used. How is Soxu still alive? He's not anymore. Soft gets that one, and now with Dardong has to duel it out against Samjay. Sen's still alive as well, trying to keep himself that way. Another kill coming in for Solid Athlete, but he eventually dies as well, and only Samjay remains. He's got the knock up onto the Renekton, but it's not enough. The ace is coming through. Triple kill for Saf. He comes in as a substitute, and he rips out the heart of DMU. He'll secure himself the 4th dragon of the game. The soul will be gained, and just like that, Grey Warwick have a complete death grip on this game.
And that is this is where the Conqueror Kha'Zix comes in handy. These prolonged fights against big tanks. Ornn would never be in that dire of a position if Kha'Zix didn't keep up the tempo, if he didn't keep up the damage. He found Ornn isolated time and time again, but through the Evolved Claws and through Conqueror, the damage kept on scaling, the damage kept on climbing up on Samjay's health bar, which allowed Grey Warwick to really cross over the fight in 2 and win it with 3 members alive.
So at 28 minutes, we are well and truly entering the late game, and we have got to have a look what is coming up next. Baron will be the next thing spawn, but that's not around for another 2.5 minutes, I believe. Meanwhile, this is a potential catch. Send, you're about to find another dredge line target. Didal goes into the Ragnarok, trying to keep himself alive, but takes so very much damage. That's going to be a depth charge. Does not get a knock up because the Ragnarok times out only moments thereafter. Didal playing it right on the edge. Now he's going to get caught out. He just completed the Guardian's Angel, and he's able to leap to safety before he even loses close to that amount of health.
Saf gets caught, Arisu is good. Here comes the call to Forge God as well.
It's going to be the double knock-up, 1 onto Anivia, 1 onto the Kha'Zix, but look at the damage Koki is putting out. I want to tell you, goes in, but he goes out even faster. Now the stun is going to land onto Samjay, who is not going to be able to survive for very long inside that facial storm. Heimerdinger is dead as well, the stopwatch used by Ornn, but yet again, he's the last man standing, apart from Nidal, who's trying to run away under his turret, but that's not enough to save him either. And with that ace, a clean ace for Grey Warwick, surely this will be the game, surely this will be the series. Dardong, there he is. He was your chunky boy in game 1. Now he's tanking turrets. The inhibitor will get taken down. There is a way following the Grey Warwick team. They're looking to be the Winter Split champions here on the north side of the bracket for the NUEL. This is going to be the game. The death timers are too long. I want to tell you, he's back to life, but only in time to see the final Nexus turret fall. There goes the Nexus. There goes the series. Grey Warwick are your winter champions.
Grey Warwick, your North Winter champions. Extremely well played in the second half of the second game. Up until then, it could have been anyone's game, including the first game. But this one good fight from Grey Warwick turned the game around and granted them a very well-deserved 2-0 victory over DMU T1.
And with that, we say goodbye to the Winter Split. I mean, we'll talk more about that game in a moment, but that was the last game. Now these teams have to get themselves ready for the next split, and it is the Varsity Split, where we see all of the teams that made it through to the playoff stages here in the South bracket, in the North bracket, put together the top 32 teams. They duke it out to try and get themselves the even bigger prizes that come through from the Varsity Spring Split. But my word, what an end to the Winter Split that was. 2 games of immense quality. Game number 1, balanced just so precariously. Game number 2, admittedly, a complete fiesta. But
both games were completely
entertaining.
Fiestas. No, absolutely entertaining. The second half of the game, however, I felt like Grey Warwick put their mind into the game, and they knew what they wanted to do. They had their game plan drawn out, and they executed it almost to perfection. This last fight, you had Saf getting kind of caught off, but not really. He hopped over the wall, and this kind of triggered DMU to the point where they just frenetically rushed them into their unwarded jungle, which was filled with brushes thanks to the ocean map, and there was basically a huge death trap with Sen's Dredge Line. We talked about this, by the way, the Sen's Brush death trap. Waiting for the lineup of DMU, and one by one they started to try to disengage, but they got caught off. One of them got caught. I think it was Leona that got off first, and then it was Ornn, and from there on out, with the tanks eliminated, everything else was easy peasy.
They fell 1 by 1. We talked so much about Sen there, and he ended up with a kill score of 4, 10, and 14, which doesn't sound incredible, but he provided so many great catches for his team.
Yes,
but we have to talk about the 14, 3, and 11 Kha'Zix. Soft coming in as a sub. He's in his freshman year, hasn't actually made it officially onto the team before this game. TK with Jam having played through the split for Grey Warwick. We talked about a potential lack of synergy, moving away from the normal shot-calling jungler. I say shot calling. I know Sen does a lot of the shot calling, as it showed with those dredge lines. But
yeah, nice
Soft
shot
came
calling.
in.
Hey, I'm alone. Dredge line, let's go.
He shot
do our
himself
base,
some
let's
of the time,
go.
okay. But Soft, he did a great job. I mean, we know that he's a player with extreme pedigree, you know, from his UKLC days, but he showed up in a big way here in the NUEL final as well.
No, absolutely, and we saw certain glimmers of a huge quality on a very young player. He's a grandmaster. He is a grandmaster player, by the way, and he was playing Kha'Zix, which is a champion that in this meta, or in previous meta as well, he is fairly new. He's an assassin in the jungle. When last time you heard about an assassin, I guess we can talk about Kiana, but he was playing against a very, very tough opponent. He was playing against the Olaf here, and supposedly Olaf does a number on your early game. This kind of didn't happen because the thing is, Soft had the backup of his team. He had the call to get his team in the jungle.
Yeah. So I'm just reading a word from production here, and just finding out exactly what's happening there. But we'll hover on that one for just a moment. With that series now rounded up, the best of 3 completed for our North bracket. I've got to ask you, as our main man over there, AC, you've got to give your MVP to someone from either of the teams for that final.
Give it to Send.
I knew you were going to do that.
Give it to Send. The man has a heart. The man has a heart of steel, man.
Oh,
you know,
dear.
he did well. No, Sen did well. He was a very entertaining player. I guess as a whole, Grey Warwick did really, really well, and all of the players shined for different reasons. In the top lane, you had the very, very big Renekton / Scion. In the jungle, you had Soft with Olaf and Kha'Zix, who shined in his own way. In the mid lane, I mean, the Anivia was virtually unkillable this game, bar a couple of times, but she basically held on to the game by herself. And then you had the very consistent bot lane. So I don't know. It's a very you're putting a lot of weight on my shoulders.
Well, to be fair, AC, you know how it works here in England. We have to take people's first answers. So Sen's got it.
Okay, well, Sen's got it. What can I say? I mean, he's a showstopper. He was a showstopper.
Captain of the team, shot caller, showstopper, call him what you want. In the end, he was triumphant against DMUT1. That is, of course, the end of that series, but there is the possibility that it might not quite be the end of our broadcast. We're just trying to work out whether or not there will be a Game 3 between Bristol Whipped and Brunel. If there is a Game 3, there is the possibility we might be able to bring that one too, if we're able to jump into that lobby. A little bit unsure at this exact moment, but we are going to take ourselves a small break now. We will definitely be back after the break, either to say adios and wish you a Merry Christmas, or to bring you that best 3. Either way, stay tuned.
All the baseline soldiers. All the baseline soldiers.
Snowing my swag.